Greatness begins as a mere spark. Forged in conflict. Shaped by unity.
The armistice has been signed. Ready to go, Zeus 1? 4, 3.
Driven by progress. It is strength, grit, triumph. That greatness is in all of us. Standing together. United in purpose.
And greetings, and welcome to the Soul Citizens. We have lost a couple of our cameras. Oh my God, I don't know what happened here. Hi, I'm GriffinGamingRPG, and we're gonna get a couple of our people's cameras back up. Give me 1 second here, gang. Oh my God, why me? This is not my day. It's not my day.
It's the FanDuel.
It's not my
to the Test Squadron stream.
No, God, don't say that. We don't want to put such a bad thing on Test Squadron. Anyway, welcome everybody once again to the Soul Citizens. I am your host, GriffinGamingRPG, and we are here today with a great group of guests. As you guys know, we're just wrapping up the Invictus week. And today, we've got 2 more days, if I'm not mistaken, for Invictus. And hopefully you guys have had some time to jump into Invictus, to kind of check out the different showrooms, the different manufacturer aircraft. And today we've got a illustrious group of gentlemen here joining us. I want to start out with who our first guest is. I'll talk about my co-hosts in a moment. On the upper left corner, we have the man himself, the mercenary of madness. DoggDemon is back with us again. DoggDemon, how are you? How are you?
I'm doing good. I'm glad to be back.
Yeah, we're happy to have you back, my friend. We're happy to have you back. And directly to his left and to your right, we have 3 members of the illustrious Test Squadron: O-Lefty, Reload, and WildBeastman. How are you guys doing?
Howdy, howdy.
All right, Test Squadron, best squadron. And DoggDemon is like the minority here, pardon the expression, DoggDemon, because fastcart, Kelosal, and I are also members of Test Squadron. So he has to go up against 6 people, but knowing he's a mercenary and a combat guy, he can handle 6 guys on the other side, I'm sure, without a problem. So
in a fight,
in
right?
In a fight, of course, in a fight. Yes, in a fight. Once again,
you promise. You promise.
Yeah, be good. To my right, I've got to my left, whatever it is. Fastcart, how are you, buddy?
I'm good, thank you. I think I'm recovered from yesterday.
Good.
How are you?
I'm doing good. I'm doing good. And Kelosal, the man with the background as always. How are you, my friend?
You can always donate to the Big Kelosal. Everybody here will go ahead and take care of you.
God, oh my God, oh my God.
Call day.
Okay. Well, good to have you here, Kelosal. Yes, you know, it's always nice to have Kelosal here. You guys know Kelosal's a school teacher during the school year. He is buried, and so whenever we can get him on the show, it's always great to have him on board with us. And again, it's also great to have the guys from Test Squadron here. They've been doing some streaming a few months ago, and I was really enjoying the streams. I've been trying to tell Lefty, you guys need to do it, you need to do it, you need to do it, because we enjoyed watching them on Saturdays. And hopefully, Lefty, you guys will get it going again. I hope. I know it's a lot of work.
Too busy playing the game.
Too busy playing the game. Okay, fair enough. Fair enough. Yeah, let's talk a little bit about. And this, you guys will know, we are covering Invictus. We're giving our review of Invictus. Virtually everybody who's here is a veteran, so this Invictus probably is not the first Invictus for anyone in particular. But I'm pretty sure that they all are very familiar with Invictus. And they've had opportunities on different days to go check it out. So I do want to start out. I'm going to go ahead and give it to DoggDemon because he is the first person I introduced tonight. DoggDemon, give me any of your thoughts about Invictus so far. Likes, dislikes, impressed, not impressed.
It. I'm impressed. Invictus is always a fun time. My favorite part of it is just the bangle. Like you see all the ships. I've seen all the ships in game that are flyable and stuff, but I think the bangle is still my favorite. Plus, unfortunately, my computer's too potato to even go near the Invictus Fleet Week without it going crash. Okay. So I lived vicariously through friends and other streams and stuff like that, and it's cool. I enjoyed it a lot. I lived through a lot of friends who jumped in for the first time, so they had a good time.
Good. Awesome. All right, I'm gonna go right down the line here. Lefty, you're a veteran of Invictus. You've been to all of them. Give us your feedback.
I've been to a few, and I've got to say I'm kind of on the flip side where finally I'm not living vicariously through anybody else. I've got my O-Lefty mini supercomputer that I just built a couple months ago, and now I'm putting it to the test.
Nice.
I got some good footage. I've been turning the settings all the way up, and I got to say everything's looking a lot better than it used to.
Okay.
I'm really impressed with the level of detail that's put into everything in this game, and it just keeps getting better.
Okay. Reload, how about you? Invictus, did you get to, I know, Invictus was kind of, for lack of a better term, a little buggy this year, right? How was your experience dealing with Invictus this year?
Well, for me, it was the same old. But I love seeing the new guys coming in and saying, oh my God, look at all these ships. Look at all the stuff. I can play something for free. And them freaking out, seeing all the, especially the military ships. I think a lot of the guys are really wanting to get into dogfighting.
Yeah, definitely. WildBeastman, how about you? Did you go over and rent anything? And were you eyeballing anything this year for Invictus, or were you just kind of, checking out the ships as usual?
Well, this year I was a bit busy, so I didn't get to play it too much. But I always get time to kind of pop in for a couple hours and play it a little bit. As always, new events. There's always at least one or two ships that come out. Everybody's wowed. Everybody's wallet's hurt afterwards. That's the same with me. Dipping that kind of thing. But yeah, it was a good time. The stability is insane this time, but except over Orison, obviously.
Okay.
So
okay, all right. FC, what about you? Invictus, did you get to stop in at all?
Yeah, I stopped in on Anvil Day and on Aegis Day, and I stopped in today for Drake Defense Con. To me, not much have changed since in previous years. I've been to all of the Invictus also, but I gotta say I love seeing the F8 Lightning every single time.
Okay. Now you said you stopped in on Anvil Day. Was that because you were looking to buy something Anvil, or did you just stop in because that was the first day?
It was the first day and the F8 Lightning.
Okay, and the F8. Okay. All right, cool.
Yeah.
Kelosal, how about you?
So I've been trying to sneak in through the week because Invictus just happened to be the last, happened to be going on the last week of school here in Florida. And I'm in Central Florida because we in Florida we start school a month earlier than folks in the north. So we're pretty much done. We're done. We're out, and we all try to get out at least before Memorial Day. By the way, thank you for those who've served who are no longer with us. But I was able to get into a couple of rooms. I jumped into Anvil, jumped to Aegis. Definitely tried to jump in with Miss because that's one of my favorite manufacturers. So yeah. Okay. All right. You got interesting Invictus.
Okay. All right. Later on, guys, don't let me forget to talk about the dynamic event because some people did get an opportunity to play around with that and visit that area because I think that's an interesting subject that we can cover as well. What I do want to do, folks, is just give you guys the history of Invictus. I know a lot of you all already know this stuff, but if it's your first time with Invictus or if you've never heard the lore of it, I just want to read it to you, and then we're going to jump right into it and start talking about what we saw this week at the event. So the history of Invictus, it says that the Fleet Week is a long tradition. It goes back several centuries to the days when the UEE was known as the United Planets of Earth, the UPE. And shortly after the First Tevaran War began in 2541, humanity suddenly found itself in need of an organized military force of a size previously unneeded. To this point, aside from the hostage situation with the Xi'an in 2530, there had only been local security forces under the control of the central human government. With humanity facing an imminent and overwhelming threat, A fleet needed to be raised and trained quickly. The tribunal sent out an immediate call for recruits to create this army. Transport ships on each of the settled planets would load up with these volunteers and travel to a training facility on Mars known as Invictus. In the morning of 2542-10-12, October 12th, families and communities gathered to launch pads around the UPE territories to celebrate those that were going to defend against the alien invaders. As the conflict continued, more recruits would gather on that day to travel to Invictus to begin their training. And over the centuries, as the Empire has expanded, space travel has become even more accessible and more recruits are able to self-report. The need for Invictus launch weeks has diminished. The spirit of it, however, is stronger than ever. Invictus is a time to celebrate each other, to celebrate bravery, duty, and commitment to the goals that define humanity at its finest. I want to throw this out here to the guys. After you hear that and you hear the history, some people might say the propaganda of Invictus. What are your thoughts? I mean, does this mirror anything in real life? Is it fanciful? What are you guys' thoughts? Lefty, you're already smiling and nodding your head, so I'm going to go to you first. What do you got on Invictus?
Well, you know me, like, different people have different opinions on roleplay, and I personally don't really dive in too deep to it, but I will say that my consistent MO in the game has been, we've got a number of alien races that CIG has presented to us, and every single one of them is in some manner of conflict with humanity. You know, we've...
It's Whammer.
Essentially, yeah, it gets me every time. We've essentially defeated the Tavaran in open conflict. We're consistently fighting with the Vandal, and I think that's the focus of Squadron 42, at least in the beginning. There's a short one-liner about the Krthak being in the game at some point, expecting them to be relatively hostile. That we're in essentially a Cold War with the Xi'an. Now we have trade agreements, but at the same time, not so nice there. And even in the Squadron 42 vertical slice, slight spoiler alert, there was some discussion of selling humans to the Banu as a slave trade. And so this is around the verse. We're in armed conflict or passive conflict with every single alien race. And so when you say that in the history of Invictus, it's all stemming from being able to fight the alien menace. That's my jam. That's what I'm looking forward to in the game.
Okay. Reload, I'm going to go to you and ask you, are you going to sign up to be a part of the UEE Navy, or are you going to stay on the outside of this thing and watch from a distance? What are you thinking about?
Well, we in TEST Custodial Services will clean any ship anywhere. I think it's all propaganda.
Okay.
Remember Litsky.
No, it's interesting you say that, because there are some people who have taken that side of this, right? That this is just the military. They just have this to make money. You know, it's really not about the war. But I mean, this kind of sounds familiar, right? Some people do say that in real life, right? So, I mean, there are going to be people who are going to be maybe not so big on the UEE, you know, because they do think this is kind of like maybe a little bit overblown now, and it's the ship manufacturers making money, you know. So, I mean, really, are you kind of looking at the UEE as something you would be a part of, or would you kind of stay back and say, let me see what happens?
Well, I'm all for scrap. So whether it's UEE scrap or TEST Squadron scrap, it's going to get scrapped.
All right. The independent contractor. Yeah, independent contractor. Okay.
He's a man of opportunity.
Fair enough. WildBeastman, were you familiar with this Invictus lore already, or is this something you're kind of just now hearing for the first time?
The surprise on my face, yeah, it's kind of those one things where, like, I'm not a huge lore person for this game yet, but it sounds almost like a modern day Starship Troopers. So like I'll do my part.
Okay.
Do my part.
Okay.
I'll join. Except the huge satire and everything.
Okay. But, yeah. Okay. Now, DoggDemon, you're the mercenary guy. You like combat and everything. Are you going to stay out there and be that Han Solo that's outside of the rebellion or outside of the Empire, or are you going to be the guy who signs up at the recruitment desk?
So I'm not signing up. I'm huge into role play, but JJ said it best. The common denominator is humanity started a lot of that mess. Like a lot of the stuff we get ourselves caught up in, it's kind of humanity's fault. Like, we're going to strong arm it and this is our way, rather than going, okay, hey, because the only one who's openly been hostile to us, like consistently, has been the Vandul.
Okay.
So I'm gonna stay with the mercenary ways. Where the UEE fails is where I can make money.
Okay. All right. All right. You're on the cash side of it. Okay.
I just have to
Hey.
say one thing. You called him Lando. DoggDemon definitely more like a Lando Calrissian.
I'm lawful evil. I have an honor bound thing. I'll help people out. I'll finish a contract, but don't expect me to get caught up in the fanfare. You started this mess years of war. I'm not going to die on any hill for anyone.
Yeah, he's out there for himself pretty much. He ain't got no loyalty to nobody. Yeah.
Well, hold on. Remember, lawful evil. I am loyal to the people who follow behind me. I got to make sure they get home before I worry about someone's contract.
Mine. I got you.
Fair enough. Fair enough. Okay. Yeah.
Sounds like a pirate.
Okay, so here's
space structure.
I won't do pirates. I won't do piracy, but if a pirate hires me to kind of protect the cargo they procure from someone, that's not my business.
He's quick on security. Yeah, he's quick on protecting people's security. Yeah, Buccaneer. That's still a push. That's still a push. Kelosal,
I just morally gray.
Yeah, Kelosal, what about you? Invictus, what are your feelings about the lore and everything here? Who is that? CC. Thank you, CC Creator, for that.
Thank you, CC.
Yeah.
Hey, thanks
I'm all
for
about
the subscription.
All about the lore because I think the lore provides good gameplay, and just like DoggDemon, I love role playing. So, but I can tell you one thing, Griff. I can tell you the village people would be happy with this part of the lore.
Which part? Did I miss it?
Oh my God!
What did I miss?
In the Navy.
Oh, he threw something up. Oh my God. Okay.
That's why I started come on, man.
That old that I'm the only one who got the
I caught it. I'm only 32 and I caught that. That's why I snickered.
I am disappointed.
Right. Well, yeah. Well, I'm surprised you didn't have the soundbite waiting for me because you'd have got me. I was off somewhere. I'm sorry. Okay.
Fast card.
All right.
Come on, fast card.
All right. Now, FC, let me throw this at you because you said that you were eyeballing that F8, and I think we all know that the F8 is one of the goals that people are going to have. You know, if they play Squadron 42, that hopefully they can play the game, finish it up in a good way, and possibly be able to have access to an F8. Is that one of the reasons why you were over at the Anvil place? You got dreams of one day snagging an F8?
Yeah, definitely. I'm definitely going to play Squadron 42 to become a citizen to try to get access to the F8. Okay. But if not, if anyone wants to donate $10,000 for me so I can get it in a package, that's cool too. I'm fine either way.
Okay, fair enough. Does anybody here own an F8? Anybody on the panel have an F8?
I might have a couple.
1, 2.
Yeah, I have a couple.
You got a couple? You guys got a couple?
It's in my heart.
Okay, I ain't gonna be mad at you. I ain't gonna be mad at you because I got a couple too. So all right, so we got a few F8s out here. Okay, awesome. All righty, well let's jump into it, gang. We're gonna start talking about these ships. First day was Anvil Day, the day that fastcart went, Anvil Day, and I'm just gonna go down the list of ships that were there, and then we're just gonna let our panelists talk about whichever one of these they want. As you guys know, there was a new ship that was launched out. We'll talk about that one last. Let's go ahead and get through some of the other ones first. Let's see. Let me go down the list here. We've got the Anvil Arrow. We've got the Anvil Ballista. We've got the Anvil C8X Pisces. There's the Carrack. There's the F7C. There is the F7C Wildfire. There's the F7C M Super Hornet. We have the F7CR Tracker, F7CS, the Ghost, the Gladiator, the Hawk, the Hurricane, the Spartan, the Terrapin, and the Valkyrie. All of those were on the show floor for us to look at, try out, loan out, rent out, whatever the case may be. Let me go to WildBeastman first. If there was something in there you would pick that you'd want to talk about, that you would pick from Anvil Aerospace, what would you pick?
Well, that's a lot of Hornets. I'm scared of Hornets, but Eric was always a fun one. It's not fun by yourself though, because I have no friends deep inside. Okay. But you know, Pisces is always my favorite. That's my most favorite ship of Anvil of all because it's tiny, it fits in everything, and you can just take it anywhere.
Okay. Okay, I was going to ask you what was the reasons why you like the Pisces. Okay, those are good reasons. Good reasons.
Yeah, it's always in the hangar.
Okay.
You know,
all right,
to be used. So
gotcha. DoggDemon. And by the way, I don't know, WildBeastman, did you hear that there was a rumor floating around, people who were hearing that there was going to be another Pisces that might come out? There was some people saying that. Evidently it didn't happen, but had you heard that rumor?
No, I haven't heard anything.
Oh, okay. Yeah,
was that from our Discord?
No, I don't know. I heard a couple people
says a lot of stuff,
it.
so I mean, it might came from him. So
okay.
I mean, I'm just asking. You know,
Okay.
I just said, is there a new?
Is
Pisces?
there a new Pisces? Yeah. Okay. All right.
But why?
All right. Well, that was one of the things that people said, that there was a variant of it. I should say that's what they were coming up with. DoggDemon, what about you? What's on this list that sticks out to you in particular? It could be a couple different things. What sticks out?
I already own a Super Hornet. I absolutely adore that thing. I used it during the Ninetales event, and that thing just. I'm a bulldog fighter. I like getting in close and then slugging it out. That's one of my favorite. That's my go-to medium fighter.
Okay. And
then I just recently traded up to a Hurricane today. So I enjoyed flying that bad boy and having a gun on top. So Anvil is definitely one of my go-to. I love them. If I have to say anything, while I respect the Anvil Arrow, it is one of the most annoying ships to fight because it's tall, small, and tiny, like a child bugging you for a toy. Get away from me.
Yeah.
Other than that, pretty solid. Already got 2 of the ships out of this, and I think I'm pretty good for now.
Okay. O-Lefty, let me jump to you. Anything in here you like that you highlight from?
So I'll just say this is, obviously being in Test Squadron, the adventure started with an Aurora, but very shortly thereafter, it was that stupid, sexy Hornet Ghost. That was my first upgrade. And then,
well, do me a favor, tell people a little bit about the Ghost, because it's not one of the ships that you hear people talk about. So just give them a real brief on that, what it is.
I would say that the 2 Hornets are grossly underrated, the Hornet Ghost and also the Hornet Tracker. And obviously, because I think a lot of that gameplay is yet to really come into the game. But once we have scanning and it really comes into play, that Hornet Ghost, it's got that canopy that goes over the midsection that gives it a little bit more stealthiness. It's got the, I think it's some special paint and armor that it has that gives it a little more stealthiness. It's able to equip the stealth components. And Tracker, on the complete flip side, it's got that command and control aspect. It's got the scanner that mounts in the midsection. And I think it's going to be incredibly useful to have one of those in your squad, even today, when we've got people flying around that have their stealth enabled and their shields off. And you're not even able to lock onto them until they're within 3 kilometers or so. And then by then they're already shooting at you. They can get even closer than that. But I think Anvil Hornet Tracker is grossly underrated.
Nice. Thank you for sharing that. For those people who don't know that, and by the way, Standard, thank you for that. Thank you, Lefty, for explaining that, because those ships you don't hear people talk about very much. But like you said, there's a lot of potential once that mechanic gets into the game, and I think there may be a lot of people who might be unmelting those bad fellas later on once they realize what that ship can do. That's some great points. Reload, what about you? What you see on that list in there from Anvil Aerospace that sticks out?
I really like the Spartan. Because it's the closest thing I'm going to get to a fire truck.
You own one, I take it, right?
Oh yeah, I like it because you can only put it in so many things, and people get so irritated with the ladder.
Yeah,
this makes me. I just stand there and watch him for like 5 minutes while I try to figure out how to get on top of the thing.
Now, on a serious note, what made you buy the Spartan? Because there are some people a lot of people did buy it. What made you buy that? Because you could have easily went with the Ballista instead. What made you go with the Spartan?
Jump Town.
Okay. A lot of people used it at Jump Town too. And they were happy with it, from my understanding. So
I just got LTI token.
Yeah. Yep. LTI token. Yeah, I mean, it was a great LTI token, but I remember Jump Town, people were using that thing like crazy, and it was effective, which I didn't expect people to do. It really was. FC, what about you? What you got from Anvil? Anything in there that sticks out? I know you've got a couple. I know you have something from Anvil. You've had a couple ships from Anvil.
I have the Super Hornet. Well, I have the Heartseeker actually, the variant.
Okay.
But yeah, so I think I had it throughout my back in history, like right after that. It was one of my favorite things. I mean, it's kind of outdated now because they're better ships than the Super Hornet now. But you know, that's one of my first loves.
Okay.
Because I love the tankiness of it, and I'm not a boom and zoom guy. I'm like, so. Super Hornet for me.
Okay. Kelosal, I'm gonna hit you with a different question here. There are some ships here that were not mentioned, and obviously the Anvil Hornet family is one that people do like. It's a lot of people have bought that for their fighter. You know, Reload mentioned about the Spartan. I think it was DoggDemon. You mentioned about the Hurricane. But here's some ships that weren't mentioned, and he mentioned about the Arrow. But here's some ships that weren't mentioned. The Gladiator wasn't mentioned. The Terrapin wasn't mentioned. The Valkyrie wasn't mentioned, and the Hawk wasn't mentioned. Give me some feedback on any of those ships. Are they ships that people should look at? Is it not worth looking at right now? Are they some of them too specialty? Is there a ship that you'd like to see maybe some work being done on, or maybe that people will be interested in it? Any of those ships I mentioned, the Hawk, the Terrapin, the Valkyrie, or the Ballista?
Well, I would definitely love for the Hawk to get some work, because doesn't the Hawk has an EMP?
Yes.
One of the weakest EMPs I've ever had in my entire life. I mean, that's part of the reason why I put it, you know, I melted it. The Valkyrie, I just think the Valkyrie, a lot of people probably are not talking about the Valkyrie right now because they're probably talking about the Legionnaire.
Okay.
And so a lot of people are probably pushing the Valkyrie aside right now, in terms of a boarding ship and, you know, a drop ship and things like that. The Valkyrie is good for dropping off, but you do have the equivalent of the Prowler, and you do have the Legionnaire right now. So Valkyrie right now is in the back of people's minds. That's just my opinion. The Gladiator, that's interesting. I mean, what a ship that fell from grace. I mean, she is a good bomber, but a lot of people are using what's the other ship? The one with the torps.
T2.
But the Gladiator was in a magazine.
Retaliator?
Retaliator?
Eclipse?
Retaliator.
Harbinger, that was the A2.
Yeah, so that's just if I was able to compare those. So that's probably some of the reasons. I'm not saying that those ships are bad ships. I'm just saying that they would probably be considered legendary.
Yeah.
Just needs a fresh coat of paint, that's all.
No, to your point, the Gladiator was a ship that people used to swear by because it has a tremendous amount of armaments on it. And people have also, for a long time, asked for that ship to definitely get a rework. It is one of the earlier ships that was produced by CIG. The Terrapin, I agree with you 100%. Lefty kind of alluded to this. Once scanning and things are into the game more, that ship is going to step up in the sense of people using it as a pathfinder. The Hawk, a lot of excitement in the beginning. A lot of people loved flying it. Yes, thank you, Lefty. Fast, maneuverable. But until we get that whole EMP capture thing together, especially with being able to arrest people, put them into the back of the ship, the prison system, all that gets in place, it doesn't really fit a niche for people right now. Ballista, somebody help me from the panel. I hear it's working right now, that missiles are working again. Are they accurate and working from my understanding? Because it was funky at one point.
I haven't been trying it out myself, but I've been seeing some streamers use it and some other people having fun with it. And it's the thing about ground vehicles right now is they have incredibly low signature. So you can't lock onto those things. So you've got to either have your weapons already set up, know where they are, and fire on their position, or you're taking shots.
Okay.
Ballista is a very, very good ground vehicle to have. I have it in my buyback. I'm waiting to use it. When it first came out, I was hitting folks 20,000 kilometers away.
Oh, I remember that.
You Rabbi Hardry and I was using. I have a video on that, and we posted it up when we were doing it with Test.
Yeah.
But good Lord, I mean, if you have a Ballista and you have it in your buyback, that's something that you might want to keep that hold on to.
Yeah. Don't let the school teacher fool y'all. He mixed up both words at the same time. He meant he meant 20 kilometers or 20,000 meters, whichever one you want to say. He had otherwise he was shooting across the moon. But no, I remember. I remember he blew my mind when he told me that. He showed me they actually nailed somebody from 20 kilometers out. I was like, you got to be kidding. They didn't even see it coming. So there was some great range on that ship. Now, one of the ships I do want to mention to you guys that I didn't mention, and I know somebody mentioned it earlier, was the Carrack. Is the Carrack still the go-to ship, you think, for most people when it comes to crewing up? Anybody can answer that.
Odyssey now, and that's the Carrack killer.
Don't start that again.
It depends on what you're doing, though, because if I'm going in a hot situation, I'm taking a Hammerhead, not a Carrack. So, like, Carrack's cool, but, like, if I know it's going to be a bad situation and I have support to refuel, rearm, and whatnot, I'm just going to take a Hammerhead.
You want to go to Hammerhead? Lefty, what do you say?
I would say as a daily driver for casual play, the Carrack is the be-all, end-all for gameplay because you've got a med bed. that works.
The med bed,
and
is
it
the
still
factor.
functions as a respawn area. It's got weapon racks. It's got a place to put the Pisces so you can dispatch some people. It's got the garage so you can have a vehicle. It's got great shields. And the second you have 2 people, you actually do have guns on it, believe it or not. Every turret's at least, dual size 4, right? And yeah, people have been using that for cruising around quite a bit. It's a little bit unwieldy, but as soon as that thing comes a little bit more into its element with the gameplay, I think it's going to be huge.
Reload, let me ask you,
cargo bays.
Yeah, Reload, let me ask you something. And we need to get onto Aegis, and I'm just kind of picking you guys' brains here. The Carrack is technically a what is it called? Declassified old military ship, right? And it's technically an explorer. Do you think that CIG will adjust that ship? Because people are using it for basically combat. I mean, it's a tough ship. It takes a lot of punishment. Do you think that it's going to remain that way? Or do you think that when balancing comes in, it literally would become more of a science ship more than a, the ship that everybody climbs in to go do bunkers and, fight people in?
Well, I think it's going to get tougher, quite frankly. Because we still don't have the shield that goes over the bladed shield, I think it's called, that goes over the cockpit.
The canopy.
Yeah. We don't have the antenna. We don't have the drones. I know I use it a lot of times to go pick up our glorious knuckleheads when they get knocked down in bunkers.
Okay.
That's me.
Let me ask a question. If it didn't have the med bed, would that still be the case?
Probably.
Yes.
Oh, that's a good question.
And I'm asking because that's one of the main reasons why people take that ship, is that respawn aspect.
Frankly, I think if it didn't have the medbed, Dog would be right on the money because it flies like a brick, and so does the hammerhead. So if you're looking to go pick someone up, and talking about it being good for killing things, it's only dual size 4s on the turrets.
Yeah,
and so they've got a pretty good firing arc, but they still have blind spots.
Yeah,
and when you're talking about actual combat, you're going to be looking at any other ship in that category.
Well, I use it in combination with an Ursa because I can pretend like it's an ambulance.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, you got to look at the other aspects of it too. I mean, you can put an Ursa on it. You can put a Pisces, and you can put an Argo on it, or things like that. So it's a multifaceted ship that you can do things with, and it's an exploration ship. It can stay out there for a long duration of time. It's a ship that's not there yet, but it's exciting to see what it can bring.
Okay.
It's the biggest multi-crew right now.
Okay. All right, cool. All right, let's go ahead and jump into Aegis. Let's jump into them next. That's our next manufacturer. That was on the next day. I'll go down the list again. The Aegis Avengers. You guys know there's a series of Avenger ships: the Stalker, the Titan Renegade, and the Warlock. There is the Eclipse. There's the Gladius. There's the Gladius Valiant. There is the Hammerhead, as was mentioned by DoggDemon. There's the Redeemer, the Retaliator Bomber. We've got the Saber with the Saber Comet, which is his variant. And we've got all the Vanguards, the Harbinger, the Hoplite, the Sentinel, and the Warden. Fastcart, I'm going to go to you on Aegis. Do you like any Aegis ships, or are you an Aegis passerby? Or do you let them go?
I am a fan of the Titan. I don't currently own one because I have other ships. Yeah, nothing really strikes me with Aegis. I mean, I do have a Aegis Ion. We're going to get to that later on, and I do have a CCU to change the Ion into a Warden. So if whenever they get around to fixing or hopefully changing the Ion, I'm going to look into see and compare it with the Warden and see what I like better. Other than that, yeah, just the Titan and the Warden maybe.
Okay. WildBeastman, Aegis. You got any Aegis ships? Anything on that list tickle your fancy?
One of the first, I would say not first, but second, serious ship that would get you into it is just the Titan. It's I would say it's the most best ship. I don't know right now, but for the price wise, it's the best ship, bang for the buck. They can get to kind of get and do everything in the game and stuff.
a lot of people say that it's a great entry level ship to come in at, you know, even more than the starters, right? It was the first. Mine too. I liked it because it kind of reminded me of the space shuttle back in the day, but you're right. It has become like that really cool stuff.
And that just docking ramp. It's the best thing. A lot of ships, you take it for granted when you don't have a docking ramp. It's awesome. So.
Okay. Reload. Anything on the Aegis list there stick out to you?
Well, you know, I've got to talk about the TSS Boo Boo Kitty. my beloved Hammerhead. We go ththrough the Ninetale events like they're low level testies in there.
Oh, okay. Let me ask you. You mentioned about the Hammerhead. Do you feel it's effective? When is it not effective? You know, it's very easy to see it and see all the guns and everything on it, right? But is there a point where taking that ship out? Like, would you say I need a minimum of this many people to feel like I'm being effective in a Hammerhead?
Well, we need a breathalyzer test because we fill it with drunken idiots most of the time.
Okay.
And then it becomes worse and worse as the night goes on.
Okay. But do you normally take a minimum crew, or it doesn't make a difference when you go out with it?
4, I think.
At least 4. Do you feel like it's effective?
Yeah.
Okay.
Lefty, I could give you horror stories with the
Hammerhead. Oh yeah, I'm sure. Lefty, anything out there on that Aegis list stick out to you?
I mean, I think I'm a little disappointed that you didn't put the one ship that's being showcased at Invictus.
Wait, you know what? I am so sorry. No, it is there. I put it. I'm. Go ahead. I'm going to go back and talk about Anvil when you get done. I apologize because I forgot to mention the Legionnaire. So go ahead.
I've got a couple javelins that are waiting to be named.
Yes, I did forget the javelin. Thank you, Lefty. Thank you.
So I'll say that and the Idris are what I'm waiting on. You know, literally every day ever since I saw them. Yeah, it's just my whole MO in the game. Like I said, is kind of like fighting the aliens. But to do any of that, I've got a whole range of exploration ships, which largely falls into Anvil, and then Aegis is kind of the heavy hammer coming in to fight those things that we find, and so. Between the Javelin, which I've, again, got a couple to rotate through, and then I've got an Idris, and I've got Krakens to deploy guys. It's all about those large organization events where we're going and finding a stronghold of some type.
What?
I'll go ahead.
No, I was going to ask you, for those ships, those are command ships. They're really big ships. What do you see your role in those ships? Do you see yourself as CO, piloting it? Captain, what is there if you were to, because not to be funny, it takes a lot to put those ships out there. It's a huge expense. Where do you see your role when you use those ships in game?
So realistically, getting everybody on the ship.
Okay.
What I hope to eventually happen is to have a well-functioning enough group that's regularly playing on the weekends, so we can have a semi-regularly scheduled time where I don't have to be the guy getting everybody on the ship every weekend. Okay. I know that this is a point of contention in the community has been for a long time. The ship page says a crew of 80 for the Javelin or something around that order of magnitude, and that's a lot of people.
Yeah.
You know, within Test Squadron, we've got 20,000 plus registered members. And then, you know, you break that down to how many are main, and it's about half that. And you break that down to people that are relatively actively playing, and it's maybe about a tenth of that right now waiting for the game to happen. So that's the big challenge. It's just getting people on the ship. It always has been.
Yeah.
And in WoW, you have tough enough time just trying to get 24 people for a raid.
Well, I'd like to add on to that too, because we do have a huge number of people in test. And I would invite anybody that's in test or think they're in test, come into our Discord and just hang out. We don't bite. We may nibble a little, but as the game gets really going, like in 2023, you're going to want to be part of this steamroller that's coming.
Yeah, and I've never had a better time in any of my gaming life, which has pretty much been my whole life, than I've had with Test. You know, just jumping in and having a beer or two, flying some spaceships around, and just get in the Discord. All you got to do is step in, and then it starts.
Absolutely.
But I will say, out of this list also, the Redeemer is my daily driver.
Okay.
But do I have to pay rent in your Javelin? That's the bigger question.
You have to pay to get off.
Yeah, I was
You get
going
on
to
and
say
get
that's the
off,
problem.
it's
Once
$10.
you're on, you're stuck. He's keeping it out in space.
Oh,
You're in trouble then,
It
right?
depends on what you're eating from the commissary and how much of a mess you're making.
You take
really.
the payout, right? Dog,
If you're just eating the beans.
DoggDemon,
Reload,
Aegis.
clean it up. Yeah.
Aegis, what you got, DoggDemon?
Aegis is my favorite company.
Okay.
I don't dislike a single Aegis ship. It is the only company, and this is going to be slight bias, that I don't hate the ships. The only reason I didn't keep all my Aegis, like, the Titan was my first one. My first love of a ship I went, shoot, I'm dropping like over $200, was the Vanguard Warden.
Okay.
And I got
Thanks
into
for
it
the follow.
before the meta started up with it at a time. Like, people are like, oh, this ship is garbage. Anytime you tell me a ship is not meta and it's bad, people and my friends will tell you I'll just stick with it just to tick people off. I've had arrow pilots, I've had saber pilots. Like, I'm gonna get behind you. I'm like, you sure that's gonna happen? And just some of the funnest gameplay of getting full crime stat, flying near Yella, decoupling and spinning and turning and waiting, having people boom and zoom and slap a mountain, and you're just sitting there going, you didn't really think that through, did you? Lefty, you were flexing, man, and I'm so jealous. I want a javelin too. I've kind of broken down a lot of. I mean, if we can do like a collab, maybe.
Well, there's a reason he has to. He knows what Tess is going to do to the patient.
Right. I want to be on the one that's going to be collectively like good. Like, I just want to see what you guys do first, because if it explodes, I just want to be like, back away.
That's the first one.
The one I'm excited for, the javelin, is I feel people are going to greatly underestimate it. Like, I'm going to go into it going, okay, let's do some test runs when I get my hands on one, because I think it is going to be 80 people to fully make it functional. But people kind of forget, like, a lot, I'm not saying you, Lefty, but a lot of people, it's amusing, like, oh, when I get this Idris, when I do this, people aren't stopping to think, how are you going to stop a boarding party? Like, I already see the first couple, when people get it, they're going to be happy. Someone's going to single pilot, and I may or may not have friends ready to just jump on the ship and go, this is a nice ship. We're borrowing this for a moment just to test it and see what it can do, because that's another big problem. If you don't have a good screen of ships defending you, the Legionnaire or something can puncture in, get on your ship, and then you're, now you have a battle in your own ship, and that's a problem, especially if people on the outside are trying to murder your face.
Okay.
Those were the carrot days.
So let me go back to the thing. You said you like them all, but if there was one, like Lefty picked his daily driver, which one's it going to be for you?
Man, if I had to pick a daily driver, shoot, why are you doing this to me? Man, it was the Sentinel. I fell in love with the Sentinel's EMP because of watching people freak out. Like, you have a light fighter come up on you, especially if you have a bounty and the arrow's getting in close, and you just turn that EMP on, you see them go from like 200 meters to 5,000 meters, and it's like, that's what I thought. Like, stay over there, please. Like, go ahead and try me.
Okay.
If I had to pick, Sentinel, Warden and Sentinel are my two go-to.
Okay. Yeah. All right, popular ship.
Griffin, real quick, I just got to give a shout out to the Gladius too. I had one briefly. I used it for threat. It flies extremely well for a light fighter. So
It's my favorite light fighter.
Okay.
It is my favorite light fighter. I love the aesthetic of the Gladius. Aegis's aesthetic is, I love like tough military. What's the word? Utilitarianism. Oh my god, it starts with U.
Utilitarian.
Yeah, I love that look of Aegis ships. They're kind of like, they're old, but they're tried and true, and that's why it's my absolute favorite company.
Okay.
And a call out to Mark Santa Test Squadron. If you see him in a Gladius, you're probably dead.
Yeah, for real. All right, Kelosal, it's on you now. Fastcart said the Gladius for him. What you like in Aegis?
So my connection is really bad going on right now. I don't know, but the Gladius.
Yep. No, that was what Fastcart said. What's yours? Oh, yours is Gladius too.
And it's always been the Gladius. That's well. I'll talk about that a little bit later.
Okay.
But the Idris, I'm definitely waiting for. I think O-Lefty hit all the talking points with that. But I think there's a couple of ships that hasn't been named here. We're missing the Nautilus.
Now I'm only going what was on the floor. That's why I'm only going what was on the floor. So I'm not naming their whole fleet because we'll be here all year.
Right.
We got about half of each of these groups.
I think the Vanguard. Hasn't gotten any love this go around, partly because obviously the Scorpius. But yeah, I'm a huge Gladius person. I love Aegis because Aegis, when it comes to anything militarily, or when it comes to those types of bulky ships, it seems like Aegis is trying to reclaim the throne.
Okay.
So.
Okay.
And when it comes to that, I'm a huge Aegis fan, but I definitely love my Gladius. We'll talk more about that later on.
Can I mention one other thing?
Yeah, go ahead.
that Aegis Eclipse is why I have the
you just stole my
top ultra secret title or whatever it is on Spectrum, and I love it.
You just went where I was going. Aegis is mine over. I'm more Aegis than Anvil, and the Eclipse is definitely my thing. I'm a big stealth person, definitely a bomber person. Get in, get out, do some heavy damage, support to a squadron or a fleet. That's something I really dig. I'm still mad about the Harbinger. I'm trying to get over it, so I'll buy one. But the fact that they removed one of the torps in it and took it from 4 torps to 3, I really wanted that thing to have a minimum of 4. And actually, I'd rather that they put 3 on each side, get rid of the beds, and have 6 in that booger. But that's not going to happen. So, and for the price, I was a little down that they raised the price but took away one of the torpedoes in it. So I wasn't too happy about that. I do want to go back for a second because I did miss something earlier, and thank you, O-Lefty, for throwing me back a little bit. And that was Anvil's new ship, the Legionnaire. I do want to get you guys feedback just very quickly on that. Let me start out with Reload on this one. When you saw the Legionnaire Reload, were you like, wow, that's cool? Were you like, wow, that's going to make the Valkyrie obsolete? Were you like, wow, that's got its own niche? Were you like, wow, I don't need one? Or was there some other category it fell into for you?
I bought one because I know we'll be using it a lot. Just if nothing else, to get onto a derelict and make sure there's no bad guys on there.
Okay. And interesting that you say that, because when it first came out and we talked about it last week, as we talked about it more, we started seeing other things that it could be used for other than what most people thought about. So it's interesting that you mentioned about using it for something like, you know, going to derelicts. Lefty, what about you, the Legionnaire?
Bought 2 about 10 minutes after it came out.
Okay.
I think a lot of people see those concept images and they think it's a lot bigger than it actually is. So if you look at the metrics of the ship, it's pretty tall. It says 10 meters. It's pretty long, 32 meters, but it's only 23 meters wide. So when you take all that into account and consider you can just rotate it 45 degrees in a hangar, you might be able to fit this thing in a lot more places than you thought before, assuming that it's a tall enough space. And so I know the Javelin first came out expecting to fit a Redeemer in it, but the Redeemer only has the 4 drop seats. This thing has, what, 8? 8, right?
Yeah.
So this is one of those ships that it's a heavily armed, more than capable kind of troop transport ship. So it's a baby Valkyrie. It's what I would have expected from the Valkyrie in the first place, except for you're losing that vehicle.
Yeah. That's good. WildBeastman, what did you think about the Legionnaire?
I love the design. I was just looking at it for a brief second when they introduced it. I was like, that's basically Star Citizen's Pelican. You know, and it looks just almost entirely like it. So I was like, yeah, I didn't know what it was, what it did or anything. I was just like, that looks like a Pelican. I want it. And that's why I got it. So, but yeah, just for what it's going to be, it sounds very interesting to be like, you know, the stealth border, but until we get stealth gameplay into a spot where, you know, the missions, you can't find it kind of thing, then we'll see and wait kind of thing.
Yeah. DoggDemon, this is kind of more of a support role. You know, somebody who would buy this ship would be somebody who gets into that whole idea of dropping people off, you know, making sure folks can get in stealthily. But the question I want to ask you is, what did you think about the price point that CIG picked for this? $100. What did you think about that?
I think that was smart because people were forgetting the front of that thing is where most of the armor is going to be facing. It is a baby Valkyrie, but it can't do the Valkyrie's job. So looking at it, I think it's a fair price point because it's going to give people the opportunity to see if they want to do a dropship. Like you're doing the bunker missions. That's great for someone who's a crappy pilot. You boom in, you face that thing towards the turrets as a shooting, you drop everyone back out, you go away. You do not stay in the fight. Whereas a Valkyrie, you stare at them, they're shooting at you, and you're staring back going, as soon as I drop everyone off, you're dead to me. as I'm just going to point all my guns. The Valkyrie can sit there and hover against his guys, pull aggro from enemy forces, and move up. And once it's done, it can pull out of the fight. The Legionnaire just seems like it is a baby Valkyrie, but it needs to leave soon. It could take a good couple of hits. It could fight a little bit, but it needs to leave. It can't stand that fight long.
Okay. Kelosal, both Lefty and DoggDemon raised some points here. There's the Hoplite, which, you know, you talked about the thing with how the Vanguards didn't get a lot of love recently, but the Hoplite, which was originally considered a drop ship in its own way, right? But then you've got the Valkyrie, right, which holds 20 people. Well, 20 people to drop, but 26 people totally. And then you've got this Legionnaire that kind of lands in the middle, like Lefty said. I mean, is this the better ship? Because I mean, when you think about that Valk, I mean, it's nice, but man, 20 seats, you know, filling up with 20 folks or even 10 people is no small task. Is this going to be kind of more for like the ship perfect for small orgs to do? Because it does have that ramp in the back. It can work as a drop from the back, and it can also be a boarding ship. We lost your audio, buddy.
You lost your audio?
There you. We don't have your audio. Kelosal, can you hear us?
He's having connection issues.
I don't think, yeah, because, oh, poor guy.
Oh, maybe he's talking with tech support. Well, he was talking. He might be talking with tech support, I guess. I don't know. Okay. Well,
I can interpret what he's saying if you like.
I read his lips. You can read his lips. Okay.
He just can't wait to get on the Legionnaire to take a ride to Lefty's Javelin.
Look at him. He hears us evidently.
Loves it. And Florida has terrible sporting teams.
He hears us. All right, so Fastcart, let me ask you that question. And does this kind of fit in the middle of that between Hoplite and Valk for like the small orgs or whatever? I mean, I know big orgs could use it too, but at $100, you know, versus $290 for the Valk, $285 for the Valk.
2 for the price of 1, right? Almost 3. So yeah, it's not really my game style. So I don't really have much to say about the Legionnaire, but it is a nice price point for its purpose, and people can make whatever purpose they can make out of it. But just like we said on our show, we people are coming up with more ideas than what CID was stated. So it's definitely going to have a purpose.
Okay. All right.
But it has an extendable proboscis. How can you not like that?
That it does. That it does.
I thought of also another thing with the Legion, especially if you put it on things like a javelin and you're assaulting someone's base high on, you can drop those things and the pilot can get out and be a ground troop too, because the signatures will throw off turrets. So if you have someone's like, what's out there, you can leave them parked, leave it alone, and it's a signature in a sea pool of targets, and it'll throw people off.
Because it's so small.
That too.
Yeah, one of the things that we talked about was we're very curious about what they're going to do to create this, so that this ship can approach other ships and obviously not be detected, you know. And they talked about the mini game and the stealth dice, so it'll be interesting to see you know, how this happens. I'm interested to see how they do it. They say it's going to be done, so I'm excited to see what happens, whether you can change your what do you call it, your transponder codes, whatever they come up with. They're going to come up with something that allows you, like you said, to get in close and attach to a ship. Okay.
Tess will find a way.
What's Fastcart?
I have a quick question. So Gomez brings up a good point. Do you think this is CIG for the price point, making up for the Cutlass deal when it came out with this?
I'm still wondering about the steel. And I don't want to make a whole story on the steel, but if they make the steel, you know, first of all, they called it the steel, and I hope it's not just because it's steel colored. If they make this sucker where it's heavily armored and can take punishment, I mean, literally, because I'm talking about like really take punishment, like a drop ship, because they showed the trailer of this thing going right into the heart of a battle. And, you know, most of us know you can't take a cutty in like that and expect it to last. You know what I mean?
Wait, I got one and I'm winning the game.
Yeah. Have you, now Reload, seriously, have you taken it out with some people and kind of monkeyed around with it?
And we did that the other day.
And what's been the general feeling about it?
Well, the happy idiots really seem to like it.
Okay.
We put it on their rumble seats.
On the floor, literally, a lot.
Really?
Until I sat down on the seat in it.
Okay. Okay.
First reactions are a bit
much. Okay. Yeah, I mean, I don't know if it's worth that $2. It was a $2.25. I don't know if it's worth that price tag. But you know, we all thought it was going to be like around a 180, 175 price. You know what I mean?
I'll tell you my thesis about prices of spaceships, and I've made spreadsheets on a lot of different stuff in the early days. I haven't bothered making one recently for this, but when you look at a spaceship, the very first thing that gets priced in is number of guns and size of guns, number of missiles, size of missiles, and then number of bombs, size of bombs. But then immediately following that is some sort of calculation of how much crew it takes.
Yeah.
And then immediately following
it's still hard.
The size of the ship, and that thing has a lot of guns.
It does. It has a lot of guns. It holds a lot of people, but it is, unless they do something to strengthen it, it is extremely dangerous to put 20 people in that ship and get blown out of the sky.
That's what's so fun about it. You just start screaming and panicking.
Oh no!
Test doesn't care. We'll do it anyways.
Just randomly shoot guns.
We'll just send another one full of people.
Listen. It's easy to say the test doesn't care now, but the more that persistence kicks in, and the more that when all 20 of y'all get blown up and every gun, armor, and everything else you had is gone, and you got to spawn all the way back across the system.
Yeah.
Now the ship gets blown up.
I look forward to rage quits.
Okay. All right. We're gonna move on. We're gonna move on to RSI because we're already running behind here. Okay. Let's go to RSI. These are familiar ships. These are some long-standing ships that have been around for a while. These were on the floor: the Aurora LN, the Connie Andromeda, the Connie Aquila, the Connie Phoenix, the Connie Taurus, the Mantis, and the Ursa Rover. And we had a new ship that was introduced, the Scorpius. So I'm going to ask everybody would pick one old ship to talk about and then give me your feelings about the Scorpius. And I'm going to start out with Wildbeastman this time.
On the topic of, what was it?
One of the older
Aegis
ones?
last time, Avenger. The next one up was my next upgrade was the Constellation. That was like the big ship when you get into Porto for the first time. You see those little ships and then you're like, whoa, Constellation.
Okay.
Like, gotta have it someday. That's the big ticket eventually. But yeah.
Nice. Did you get a chance to try out the Scorpius at all this week?
I did get one. I got one with LTI token. But yeah, if I should, so I played around for a little bit and stuff like that. But yeah, it feels pretty cool.
Okay. One man or did you do two man? Did you do two man or just one man?
One man.
Okay, just one man. Tried it out. Okay, cool. All right. DoggDemon, same thing. Give me one old one and then talk about the Scorpius.
I would say the Connie, the Constellation, the Aquila, is really cool. Yeah, not Aegis, excuse me. RSI is kind of like that nerdy group. I would say the kind of like the hip. I got the latest thing, but it has guns on it. I don't really dislike RSI, but RSI is just kind of there. Like I have no problems with them, but I love the Constellation. I think it was absolutely hilarious in one of the patches. The Constellation got a little bit more mobility, and those forward guns were deleting people. People were like, oh, you can't dogfight with a constant.
Yeah.
Oh. And I remember one guy I was sitting there watching at Porto. He got a he decoupled
it and reversed it with those size fives up front. That was it.
It was funny because he would lock missiles on people. Bounties were coming at them left and right, and I'm sitting there going, I love watching underdog ships that people underestimate that are able to the capability to handle themselves.
Yeah, I just love explosions.
Yeah, me too. So it's even more satisfying when someone's overly cocky and they try to sit in a gunfight with you, and you just aim those size 5 and you pull the trigger and they're just gone. And it's like, GG, good fight. Whatever, forget you. Curse. It's like, oh, okay, I'm sorry.
Well, to your point, I have seen people solo in this ship.
Yeah, but Scorpius, it looks cool. I even considered it, but like, it doesn't fit the niche for me. I respect it. I don't care if it's silhouette too much. I'm more of an Imperial than an X-Wing. So everyone's like, X-Wing, I'm like, like terrorist vehicle. So Scorpius is cool. I think it fits really nicely in the heavy. Okay. But it is also like, I think it's the beginning tier heavy, because if you compare it to like a Vanguard and a Hurricane, it can't take as much punishment as them. Okay. But I feel it does fit a nice little niche where someone doesn't want to sacrifice too much mobility but have decent firepower.
Thanks for the subscription.
Okay, gotcha. Thank you. Hey, Coffee, thank you so much for that. We appreciate that. Let me go to Kelosal this time. Kelosal, you got us now? Are you back? There he is. Awesome.
There he is.
Okay. Cool.
Yeah.
All right.
My apologies.
That's okay. You're good. You gave us the sign to let us know that you were still there, so that's cool. Give me one of the old RSIs and then give me your feedback on the Scorpius.
So originally, I think one of my first packages was the Andromeda, and then I melted the Andromeda to get the Aquila. So I do have a little bit of a love for the Aquila because it's one of those types of exploration vessels that came with the Ursa. And so I do have a particular love for it. I can't wait when they put the MFDs in. I'm definitely an MFD man. I moved, but the move from that, I got the Mantis. Love it for what it does. The Scorpius, just like DoggDemon said, I mean, it's a great ship. I've been in it for a hot minute these last couple of days. Part of the reason why I couldn't join you guys last night after the Bar Citizens is because I kind of gotta have a crime stat, and I was being chased last night by a couple of people. It was an unintentional crime stat, by the way, folks. I'm not a criminal.
Yeah.
I just like to talk to
That's
people.
what all criminals say.
Yeah, I know.
Yet.
Kelosal plays the game and walks into what's it called, Klesher, and they say welcome home, right, Nihilus? Right, Nihilus, welcome home. That's what Nihilus says. They say whenever he gets there.
Yes. Well, so anywho, but yeah, I mean, the Scorpius is an interesting ship. It was the last ship that I needed to buy to complete any types of semi-solo functions that I wanted. I had a small fighter, I had a medium fighter, and I wanted a heavy. Now, it doesn't serve its purpose unless you have that second person on that turret. But I needed a ship like that because I didn't want a Vanguard, or I didn't want a Hoplite or Harbinger. I didn't want that. I wanted specifically that Scorpius. So I'm satisfied with what I have. I'm satisfied with what the Scorpius does. You know, I just hope that they don't try to nerf anything, or don't listen to them loud folks about trying to nerf the ship this early in the game. Let it stay as is, and then we'll see how that rolls.
Okay, all right. Lefty, what about you? What's some from the old, and talk to us about the new?
Every adventure in Test Squadron starts with an Aurora.
We should put up a sun.
Okay.
Oh God.
All right.
And I gotta say, I accidentally had a Scorpius in my hangar, and I've got a CCU from a Scorpius to Endeavor sitting there, but I'm gonna melt that CCU after flying that. I know I said the Redeemer was my daily driver, but just in the past 2-3 days, I've been using the Scorpius. It's, you know, everybody talks gold standard, this and that and everything else. That thing, if you hit open exterior, everything pops open, not just the ladder and the canopy. And you can see all the components are there. It's got onboard cargo, or not, I shouldn't say cargo. It's got exterior access inventory.
Right.
So, you know, when I go down to a bunker, you know, dressing as like a secret test agent, you know, go in with my suppressors and pew, 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 pew. Then I come back out with another P6LR with a nice paint on it, or a rocket launcher or whatever, pop it in that ship, go on to the next one. And it's been really great for that. And then I've also had a couple great moments where just different test members hop in the turret and, you know, they can go for a snack, whatever, and I can still fly it solo. But when they're there, this thing shines. I will say that turret is an amazing amenity. The thing is stupid fast in atmosphere. Stupid fast. Getting out of Orison, you know, like a fifth of the time.
Yeah. Okay.
Hey, Griff, can I add on to what O-Lefty is saying about the inventory and things like that? It's not only just for the pilot guys. They also have another one for the co-pilot. If you jump over to the opposite side of the ship, there is another storage area on that, and they have a gun rack just underneath the canopy itself. So you can bring down the gun rack, and it has 2 gun slots, one for you and one for your co-pilot. So it's a great ship. People should get it if they haven't gotten it already.
Also, one of my fantasies that is yet to be fulfilled by Star Citizen is just crash landing an X-wing shaped thing on Oso 3, I think it is. It's like a swamp planet, and then you know, finding some little green alien, and you know, knowing me, I'll probably kill it, but
it'll be me. I'll be like, hey, what's up?
You don't like aliens, do you?
No, he doesn't. No, he's definitely on the Xeno hating side of things.
Oh no.
Yeah. Reload, how about you? Give me something old from RSI and the Scorpius. Your thoughts on it?
Well, I have kind of parts of two. I have all these ships and I love them all. Okay. It's kind of hard to pick. The one thing I like to point out is on the Ursa rover, there's those 6 little circles on top. Looks like for hooks. I really want to see that implemented because I love that stupid little rover. And then also the piano that only plays one song. Sorry for doing it for you. And the Scorpius, I love that ship. I mean, I'm more of a Star Trek guy, but that ship is it's getting me more back into Star Wars because I'm like, oh man, if I could just get a little R2 in the back. Yeah, so I am taking applications for R2D2 units and astromech. All you have to do is sit in the back and beep and boop, and I'll be happy. Just come into Discord.
I'll do it.
Work something out.
Yeah. Cool. Now, everybody understands that when we see that ship, obviously with the profile does throw us back to Star Wars, but fastcart will tell you that ship also is reflective of something else that does reflect the ship a little bit more. So fastcart, why don't you talk about that, what that profile or that design of the ship really kind of comes from a little bit more?
Yeah. Babylon 5 Star Fury from 1992. So yeah, because also it decouple mode. That's what Babylon 5 had Newtonian physics. So yes, I think it's more fit the Babylon 5 scheme than the Star Wars scheme. But hey, a lot of people when Babylon 5 came out, they said the Star Fury was the X-wing too.
Exactly.
So you can't get away with it either way.
Exactly.
But as far as old ship, when I first backed, I got a physical package. Be quiet, DoggDemon. But no, I got a physical package. The Constellation Taurus.
Okay. And
so I've had that in my hangar for ages because you cannot melt a physical package and get it back.
Right.
So but then I won an M2, so I CC'd from it. But also this Invictus week, I got another Constellation Phoenix and put it in my backpack.
Okay, another Constellation Phoenix. All right, very cool. Alrighty, let's move on from there. We'll just spend a few minutes. We only have a couple ships on our next one. Our next manufacturer would be Origin's JumpWorks. Origin. Just a couple ships that were listed there for Origin. One of them was the 125A and also the 325A. Let me go to O-Lefty first on this one. On either of those ships, do you have a preference or don't mess with the Origin ships?
You know, if it's not blowing things up as effectively as other things, and also it's going to cost more to repair, I'm not a big fan. Okay. Fair enough.
He's going to pass on the Origins. Let me go to WildBeastman.
The 125 has it's got a nice low profile like the Pisces. So I've tried it a couple times, and then some of them are pretty speedy. So, but like as a daily driver for anything, not really. Okay, fair enough.
DoggDemon. Don't give me listen. No, go ahead. You know what? Nice. You're a guest. You're a guest. So you get a waiver. Go ahead. Say what's on your mind.
The only Origin ship I respect is an 8. The what is it? The 890.
890. Okay.
I agree.
That is the only Origin ship I absolutely respect. Like I'm trying to think of anything nice to say, and I just like. Origins is just, oh, look at the peasants. Oh,
that's
I have a champagne room in my 30s.
That's right. That's right.
That's not going to help you in a combat situation. I mean, if you're about to die, you just chug that thing down as your doom approaches.
That's all right. That's okay. Just remember this. Just remember this. Just remember this, DoggDemon. You never see the rich people out there fighting. Just remember that.
Because they're boring. Oh, yes, I have the stuff. Listen, but guess what? I'm the person that the rich people, listen, but you have to pay me to make sure your assets don't get blown up.
That's true. That's true. I have no problem with that. I have absolutely no problem with that. Okay. Fair enough. Reload. 125A or 325A, either one of them?
Well, for me, I think the 325A is what started my whole obsession with this dumb game. Because that commercial with the bald guy, oh my God, I was just like, oh my God, this is my game. Look at this spaceship and fly through atmosphere. I just went on and on and on. I tried to drag my friends into it. They would have none of it.
Yeah.
I'm like, but look, it's like going to be SWG, but better. No, they wouldn't have any. They just, nope.
No, you know, I hate to admit it, but I will agree with you that the Origin 300 commercial, that very first one, got my attention. It really did. There was something about that one more than the Aurora commercial or the Cutlass commercial. And this is back in the day, y'all, because those were the 3 main commercials that came out for the ships. And that was the one that got me to jump in. It really, really did.
They are shiny ships.
Yeah.
The 400i commercial was amazing.
Oh, yeah.
Still, you gotta blow up stuff.
I don't like the 400i. I was kind of hoping it stayed a meme, and I looked at it. And
boy, let me go to Kelosal then, because Kelosal might have something to say. All right, no, but we're not talking about the 400i. We're only talking about the 325 and the 125. So, Kelosal, you got anything to say about either of those 2 ships?
It's a great role-playing company.
I'll give you that. Okay, as a role player, fine. I'll give you that. Outside of role playing, though.
I'll acknowledge that.
Definitely have that. I have a sign in the back, and if y'all follow Co-Citizens, my acronym is NO, and it's basically No to Origin. So I love Grid. I love to role play because role playing takes time, but I'll just role play on the Origin ships.
Yeah, that's cool.
And laugh at the peasants.
I'll buy that for $1. I'll buy that for $1. Fast cart. What about you? 125A or 325A?
No. I'm a 315p, so neither for me. So yeah, that the 315p. But it's
I was surprised that the 315 wasn't put on the floor because of exploration, maybe not for combat. But I can understand why they opted not to. These two are the fighters that they produce. One's the Interceptor. Well, it was called the Interceptor. The one thing I will say about these ships is that for those of you who've flown them, you know that the Origin 100 series have the air system in them, which gives them extremely good fuel efficiency. You can fly all over the place and they refuel themselves. They have their own refinery. They're one of the only ships that has its own refinery on it. So if you do want to deal with it and getting from here to there, long distances in particular, it is a nice ship to get you there covertly in and out. But they are not
fuel
the
efficiency
ships.
to the military guys.
Well, yeah, well, to the military guys, that makes a difference. But I'm referring to in the sense of, not to be funny, but I've taken some ships from 59 million kilometers out to another location nonstop, where if you're in a fighter or something, you've got to stop 3 times to refuel on that trip.
I'll give you that.
I'm just saying, if it's a ship that you just need to jump in to get somewhere, then when you get there, get into your fighter, your anvil or whatever, then that's cool. So there are some benefits to ships that are, highly fuel efficient. But that's the one benefit that I would say. But combat, I don't have any of them for combat myself. So there we go. All right, let's
be honest too. They can be very inconspicuous too.
Oh, we've got a raid going on.
Oh, we got a raid.
Disabled Guru, thank you for that raid.
Thank
awesome.
you.
Thank you so much. We appreciate that.
So, the one thing I will say, I'm surprised the M50 is not on this list. That's the Interceptor, right?
But it's a racer. They've pushed it more into that racer, even though you're right, but they've pushed it into that racer category a little bit more, which is like the 350 isn't on here. You know what I mean? So they're probably kind of keeping it in that category,
And if anybody's using that ship for combat, that is the most annoying ship to combat against.
I'm gonna tell you, who does? Miss Hearts flies that 350 and wears people out in that thing. She really does, because of that small profile, and it's fast and like DoggDemon was saying about the arrow, fast and agile for people who can handle that thing. You got to watch out for those ships that people. You mentioned the DoggDemon, the ones they underestimate. That Buccaneer is another one that's a pain in the butt. It's like a freaking mosquito. Those small profile ships can be really rough in the hands of the right person.
It's like you give a mosquito a shotgun. Like you're like shields down. You're like, what the? And you see a Mustang Buccaneer. You're like,
yep.
Who gave this child a gun? What are you doing? Like.
All right, let's move on here. We only have one here. Consolidated Outland. The Mustang Delta. Let me throw this one out to, I'm going to go to DoggDemon first on this one, because I know how much you love combat. This one doesn't get a lot of attention. It doesn't mean that people aren't flying it, but I am curious. Have you flown the Delta from a combat scenario? Does it need something more, or is it just one of those ships that's just overlooked?
I feel it's overlooked. People need to look at the Mustang as like a trainer plane. It's capable, but it needs support. You can do light bounty hunting. You can do some security detail with it. It's inexpensive to repair. It's inexpensive to use. But in terms of actually using it for combat, very specific scenarios. Like I think you could throw a specific type of missile on it, and it was dangerous at one point. People let someone get close. I think it was Rattlers. Can you put Rattlers on a?
Sure.
I think
the most underrated game feature of it, the rocket pods.
The rocket pods too. If someone comes at you in a straight line, you throw it into, you'll melt their shields in that ship. I have no problem with English Consolidated Outland. I feel people need to look at the Mustang as more of a light fighter starter ship and see if people enjoy it. That's why I tell people, hey, you want to get a dogfighting? Start with a Mustang.
Start with something like that.
Don't jump straight into the arrow. Don't jump straight into a saber. Start there and see how you feel about it.
It's interesting you would say that, because for many people, when it comes to the Aurora line for starters, people who are into combat very quickly highly recommend the Aurora LN as the one to start with if they're going to go that. So I'm just saying, if someone had to pick from the starters, it's their combat version that people say, if you're going to go with an Aurora, go with the LN. And I've heard people say what you just said. If you want to do fighting with the don't go with the Alpha or go with the Delta. That's what I've heard people say as well. Lefty, what about you on that with the Delta?
Well, I already said the thing about the rockets. I'm curious to see if that really gets used anywhere else now that we can dumbfire missiles. But, you know, they've got to have a diversity of ships at that price point and at that level. And I've got 2 lists, and there's some that straddle the line that I call their NPC ships and their player ships. Some ships are just targets, and they're, you know, like, as much as people don't want to hear me say this, like the Buccaneer, the Mustang. A lot of the Auroras are going to be good to get around, but, you know, a lot of ships at this level just, they belong on this list of things where I'm not ever going to be using one. They're there to fill a spot in the verse.
Okay, okay. Reload, any thoughts on that Mustang Delta?
Well, being in Test Squadron, I can appreciate a good cult, and it seems like Consolidated Outland is a cult. I really like the cockpit. When you're in the cockpit and you look around, I really like the way you can look around with that thing.
Yes.
Other than that, I mean, for like low flying, maybe, which, by the way, we do in Test Squadron all the time.
Yeah.
Welcome to come in and low fly with us.
I've seen some people doing the flight stuff with it before, which is interesting that you would mention that. Okay. I think WildBeastman might have stepped away. Kelosal, what about you on this Mustang Delta?
Yeah, I'll defer to, you know, the folks that just said some things about it earlier.
Okay.
Because the only thing I'm interested about Consolidated Outlands at this point in time is how the interior is going to look like, and I think the closest we got to that is the Nomad.
Okay.
So I'm interested to see how the rest of the interior, when we see a spread from Consolidated Outlands, I'm interested to see what's going on with that.
Okay. FC, do you think, I'm going to ask you a different question because I know you're not big into the combat side of things, but Consolidated Outland and RSI, with their starter ships, they both produced ships that fell into categories. For example, there's the MR, right? There's, you know, there was the base ship. Then they came out with what was their quote unquote little luxury with the LX. There's the cargo ship, the CL, and then there's the LN with the Auroras, right? And then Consolidated Outland does the same thing. They've got the Alpha, which is their starter, the Beta, which is like their little, we used to call it the camper van, right? Then they've got the Delta and the Gamma, right? Is that something that's kind of passe now? Because that's how we all got started with starter ships. Is that idea of a category for a combat ship, is that all gone now because we've got, you know, these larger manufacturers who've made ships that are dedicated to combat, you know, versus, you know, Consolidated has their one singular ship that's for that. You know what I'm saying? Is that kind of passe? A CIG kind of maybe they're starters, but, you know, people aren't going to hang on to them. They're going to move on to, you know, the Harbinger.
I forget who said it, and I forget when they said it. It must have been over 5 years ago. But there's someone on one of their shows inside Star Citizen around the verse once said that they want to get away from making variants, as they're called. So that, and since then you've seen less and fewer and fewer variants. I mean, the Cutlass Steel is probably, I want to say, the last variant that
in a while.
And in a while. So yeah, they definitely want to get away from variants. So if you want to say passe, that applies. But every time they Consolidated Outland comes up on a limited ship sale, or like especially Delta or something, I always try to look under the ship upgrade to see if they sneak in the Mustang Omega by accident. Okay. And I have not had any like in factory.
Okay. Wow.
Well,
yeah, go ahead.
One thing that like perspective, like right now, we usually, like this community, we usually talk to the people that are really into Star Citizen. There's still millions of people that may have these starter ships that we don't talk to. We won't see them until after beta. I suspect we're going to see a lot of these Auroras. We're going to see a lot of Mustangs and a lot of these, even Titans, if they spend a little more money, the Avengers.
Yeah, no, I think somebody at CIG has said in one of these different things that I think it was one of the Mustangs is one of the most had ships, just possessed ships of any.
Yeah.
I might be wrong now.
No, you're right. I remember they did say that. I remember that.
Oh, well, yeah, they said it a few years ago, so it might be something else now. But yeah,
but it was.
You're right for the time. Yeah,
you're right. You're absolutely right.
It looks cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's cool.
So something also piggyback on what Reload was saying too. Do remember we may be looking at these ships going, why would anyone touch these? But I'm thinking future. They did flat out say packet or materials and things will become harder. So I think you're going to see more Mustang Alphas and stuff in areas where losing a ship is life and death. So what are you going to do when you're exploring a location? Are you going to risk sending your very expensive good fighter, or are you going to take a light fighter out to do light patrols and deal with small things? So because again, if you take a javelin, oh, I'm going to warp to this and this place has no material. Shoot, we got in a fight and I can't prepare my javelin. We're low on fuel. We're kind of stuck here. What are you going to send out? Your very pricey ships, or are you going to send your lower ships? So I feel they're purposely putting these niche here. And what's good, you're going to see, it's going to be hilarious. People are going to move all these expensive ships. Then the game's going to drop and they're going to realize, oh my God, it's costing me an arm and a leg to fix my ship. What am I going to do? And then you're going to be like, what happened, dude? I lost my money. Why are you flying a Mustang? This is all I can afford.
Hey,
operational cost.
Yeah, operational cost. I think it's going to be a very efficient. You know you're going to be doing like, oh, someone's going out to do mining. You're in you're in a high security area. Yeah. It's relatively safe. There might be a few dumb pirates out, but you know no one's going to bring that heat. So what are you going to patrol out with? Yeah. NPC pirates might show up, roll out a couple of Mustangs. Oh, look, someone's here. Jump them as a group. Wolf pack it. You're good. Doesn't cost you much money if something gets damaged. That's where people I notice forget and kind of passe a ship off. And I tell people, buy a ship for what it's going to do in the future, not what it does now.
Yeah, we have said on this show zillions of times that people are underestimating the whole starter ship aspects of this game. That in the beginning, it's going to feel good to say, I'm going to take out my this, my big that, my big this. But you're going to have a couple issues. One of them will be Lefty talks about this all the time, logistics and operating costs. There are some people who honestly don't understand the dynamic of when you take a ship out. It's not just about making sure you have enough ammo or enough fuel. It's going to be food, supplies, medical, everything. I mean, the whole dynamic of playing the game is going to change. And I tell people all the time, I'll jump in a freaking 100i or an Aurora or whatever to get from here to there, because guess what? Nobody pays attention to me. I get there fast. And when I get where I'm going, then I go ahead and get whatever I need to get in. In the beginning, people might say, oh yeah, I'm going to jump in my Perseus and go do blah, 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 blah. I'm like, yeah, okay, let's see, let's see how long it takes to do that, because it's going to take time. Eventually we will evolve to that. But in the beginning, a lot of us are going to be using our cutlasses, our freelancers, or whatever, and then as we go in the game, we'll start to step it up. Okay, let me move on. Next manufacturer. This one's interesting. We only had a couple of them. The Argos rather. We're talking about the Argo MPUV-1C and the P. Some people don't know the lore on these ships, and it's very easy to dismiss them because, well, they don't do anything in the game. But I think we've talked about it on this show before. We've done a show on the Argos. Lefty, you've got Idrises. Kelosal has Idrises, and you guys know there is a purpose for these ships, right? Can you talk a little bit about the functionality of the Argo beyond just what we see now?
Yeah, so I'm also curious to see what the future holds for it, because really that thing is a cockpit with just a little bit of rigging behind it, and it can hold any number of different modules, which right now it's the 1C and the 1P, which is for cargo or personnel, but specifically built into the Javelin and the Idris on the bottom are Argo hangars, which you can go see in the bottom of the Javelin right now in game, which, by the way, if it goes to Orison, I know a lot of people don't like going there, but you can fly right up to the Javelin. It's not a restricted airspace. So you can see on the bottom where it's supposed to open up, and it comes with an Argo MPUV 1P. So that you can actually get in there and out of there with a reasonable number of people. They're not jump capable, or shouldn't say jump capable. They're not quantum capable ships, and they have no guns other than the ones that, are held by the people inside of them. But it's utility. It's pure utility, and they definitely serve their purpose.
Yes, absolutely. Big Black Gaming, wow, thank you for those 5 gift subs. You guys give some love to Big Black Gaming, who hooked you up. He hooked you up. Venom, Real, Heroes, and was that Chicago? Kotsu? I can't pronounce your name. I'm sorry. And Spazzy. Y'all give Big Black Gaming some love.
It's Ichigo.
It's Ichigo. Thank you. Ichigo.
Kotetsu.
Thank you. Thank you, Lefty. And a lot of people don't realize that is built with modularity. That whole center section basically drops out. If you look at it, You can put in whatever type of module they want to put in there. It has a lot of flexibility. So again, don't underestimate that ship just because of where it is right now. It will have a use, and there will be people who are happy to be hired to use it, which is also the cool thing about it. Okay.
And she's a fast little ship. So.
Yeah, absolutely. And they may tweak it some more, you know, because we do want to see that ship to be able to, I would love to see it where you're doing from surface to orbit kind of stuff with it. Right. And it moves pretty fast to move things that way, which would be pretty awesome. DoggDemon, the Argos, do you own any? You got them in reserve, or you just going to hire people for whenever you need to get something moved around?
People in my group are probably going to use it. I love the Argos because, again, it goes into that logistics. Right now, people are looking at it. Also, I just love the fact that we voted it into victory. It became king. Like, I just want to vote it again or vote another ship just to tick people off. That was so amusing. But in terms of Argo, people are forgetting another logistical thing. Let's say your group is out and you need to move cargo, pirates especially. You're not going to use that dinky little gun. You probably want to be quick. You destroy someone's ship. You're grabbing the stuff off the ship and you're booking it. You're not going to be like, let me get my beam. Okay, 1 box, 2 box. You're going to be loading.
I can't wait for that to change.
Yeah, I'm saying like it's going to be cool that you can throw things in an Argo.
That's true.
Those homesteads, you're not going to want to pick it up with that beam or move it over. The Argo cargo can probably pick up a cargo, fly it over your base in the open courtyard area and drop it. So I think right now, again, people don't see the potential right now because there's not a gameplay loop for it. But come Pyro, come all these different systems, people are going to be loving them, and you're going to see an uptick in purchases for these things.
Oh yeah, just to piggyback on that, you know, I think a lot of people don't realize the tractor beam as it is right now has what, like a 50-meter range, something crazy. It can reach out for days.
Yes.
And that's just a little handheld thing, and you notice it comes with a battery in it. Then you switch that out for the tractor attachment, the multi-tool. They're already working on a size 2 tractor tool. They've got the SRV, which is a much larger tractor tool. The Caterpillar has a built-in tractor tool. The Cutlass Black, I believe, has a built-in tractor tool. All these different ships have different levels of tractor beams. I can't wait. I can't wait for all of this to come down to this little handheld thing can no longer do what it does right now in T0 tractor beam.
Right, that's good.
It's going to run out of battery if you try to haul a body.
Right. No, that's good.
Someone's going to drop a warhead. Like, are you sure you got that torpedo? I got it. Pink.
You're right.
No, it's some crazy stuff you can do right now.
Yeah. WildBeastman, let me ask you about these 2 little Argos. You know, this thing, like they said, it did win last year for one of the ships of the year kind of thing.
Beat the carrot.
Really. Have you flown those? You know, we saw this. I think one of the first times we saw it in use was when we saw the old Morrow tour. It opened up with the guy being transported into an Idris. Have you flown one before?
Yeah.
The Argos?
And sorry about the disconnection issue. I changed something in the settings, and I was like, "Oop, computer's not having it." Everything broke down. But no, I had one on when you get. I've been in the club with Lefty where you have capital ships. I had an Idris, so I flew it for a little bit. It's one of those things where you just put it anywhere eventually, but it at the moment doesn't really have like a
a lot of functionality
to do anything. Functionality, but it'd be kind of fun to kind of take it somewhere. Like my original fantasy for a lot of things is just having like a gigantic ship out in space and then take something small to go planet side to do whatever I need to do and then come back.
Nice,
because eventually that kind of gameplay will make a thing where too big of ships can't leave, so you need something small to get through.
Absolutely, good stuff. Reload. How many do you own? I know you got about 20 of these bad fellas. What do you got?
3 or 4, I think. The one I just want the variant that comes in Squadron 42 with when the great big guy steps out. I'm like, oh my god, I want that ship.
Well, there's the other one.
That has some kind of facial distortion inside or something.
There's the other one. Reload doesn't like to talk about this dream too much, but when he's retiring from his janitorial duties, he's told me about how he wants to open an Argo MPV food truck.
Oh, there you go. There you go. Deliveries. I like that.
Taco truck.
Yeah, the taco truck or the coffee truck.
Start the rumor right now.
That would be cool.
I can see it now. You're gonna steal like the burrito torpedo place on a planet and load it in there and like land in your combat situation. It's like, does this work? Yeah, it works. Like I already see that. Someone's gonna steal it, throw it in one of those, and land in your location and just sit there.
Emergent gameplay.
Well,
I love it.
We also tried to use it. We tried to use it in Jump Town. It didn't work out too well.
No.
Yeah.
I bet. Colossal, what were you going to say about that?
No,
You
I
said
was saying be careful because Buster is going to try to beat him to that one because she's been all over that one with the food truck.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, the
Buster,
food truck
Buster,
thing.
yeah.
She wants the food
Yeah,
truck.
Buster and Astro. Astro wants to, I think he wants to do it in a Cutlass though. He wants to have the Astro bar.
Or
They
something.
want the food trucks.
Yeah.
Fastcart, I know you're big on the Banu Merchantman. Are you going to have some of these inside to move your cargo around? Because you're going to need
I'm
something.
gonna pay someone, fire someone, do what I have to do. I'm probably
Okay.
not gonna have any in my hangar for that. But
Okay,
yeah,
okay.
I'll find someone to do that stuff for me.
Okay. And Colossal, you've got an Idris, so obviously you get one with your Idris. I'm sure you're going to put yours to use for whether it's shuttling people, because you're one of those people that wants to stay out in space. You're not really trying to come back to bases and stuff, right?
Yeah, I'm not trying. I'm do exactly what the game is intended for me to do: live in the ship. I'm not trying to come back and sit on the planet unless I really need to. You know, so absolutely, I do have one right now, and that was before I purchased the Idris. So obviously, have a second one. But I think these ships are definitely going to be highly prized when you when they actually come out with the utilization of it.
Okay. All right. Fair
See,
enough.
Colossal's a star citizen, not a planet citizen. Dang, it's the title of the game, man.
Star citizen.
I'm in the stars, buddy.
Okay.
I can see the void.
Cool. All right, let's go on to the name Crusader. That was our hosts of Invictus this year. The Crusader, Ares Ion, Ares Inferno, the Mercury Star Runner, A2, C2, and M2. WildBeastman, pick one. Which one, if you were saying that you dig from Crusader, what would it be?
C2 all the way, because like originally I'm still a cargo space trucker at heart. I'm just waiting for that system to get in there. But it's got the biggest cargo hold in the game at the moment. So soon.
Okay, yeah. Cool. Reload.
Probably the Star Runner. I think that's my daily driver.
Daily driver's the Star Runner. Any particular reason why?
I keep looking for that frozen Banu and I can't find him.
Okay.
I get that reference.
O-Lefty, which one would you pick?
So I tend to stick away from non-military daily drivers, but I've got the Crusader Mercury Star Runner as a daily driver. It's got a test skin, you know, it's all grayscale or black and yellow. I also have the black and gold one, but you know, that's a little too fancy for my taste. I would say that the community obviously has a little bit of a beef with what happened to the Ares Ion. Obviously, just if anybody hasn't heard it, it's going to be changed in the future. So don't expect it to just be wildly inaccurate laser shots like it is now. But yeah, it was never meant to be a sniper. I keep an Inferno because that is, at this moment in time, my space A10.
Yes.
I love
Yes.
and it's got the complement of missiles and it looks good, it flies well. Oh man, I wish it was more effective, but it sure sounds great. I've got the A2 and I bought it when it came with a free tonk, and I'm never getting rid of it.
Okay.
Well, as far as effectiveness, look who we put in it.
Oh,
well, yeah.
Okay.
Shots fired. Hello, 911.
Fair enough. DoggDemon, Crusader, which one are you looking at?
Crusader is my second favorite company. Astro said it best. Crusader is just Aegis with better PR. So I like all their stuff. It's heavy lifting. It looks fresh. It looks new. However, I am very upset and sad that in the Inferno, I saw the Inferno, I saw it for purchase, I went, nope, mine. Let me just get that. It's a Space A10. I am saddened. I know that I'm glad to hear that they're going to patch it, but it's just the spread. When it first came out, it was fun because it was dangerous. Someone made the foolish mistake of chasing me and friends when we had a bounty on our head, and I shredded a fully stacked hammerhead. And I could tell they straight up panicked because I was dogfighting with someone that said, hey, there's a hammerhead, like we need cover. They blew up our ship. I turned around and all those guns were shooting at something and they all looked at me and I just flew circles. It was so satisfying seeing
so
that thing
good.
break apart and fall. You're just like maniacal laughing. That is also my I still fly that ship, but right now it's hard to justify just for like using it for combat because that spread is so
it's very special use, but still
even in Arena Commander, I'm trying to hit the hammerhead and I'm up on it. It's just I'm like, wait a minute, wait a minute. Like the hammerhead's flat like this. I'm shooting at this part and I'm like,
well,
why are we missing at like 500 meters?
The good news is that, like Lefty said, they did mention in the fact that it was last week, they talked about the Ares Inferno and the Ion. And they said that they toned them down. They had looked at some things in their analytics and things, and they adjusted it, but it will be readjusted. So for those of you who have them, you may have melted them. Just hang in there. They are going to come back. To just
never melting.
Be patient. Yeah, be patient. That is They're going to come back. Okay.
That is my combat leadership. I am more of a. I'm not an armchair commander. I will be in my javelin in the future, but when combat starts, I don't like being. I'm in the fight, and that's going to be my choice. I will have people covering me from regular dogfighting. I'm going after the big boys.
Okay. All right.
I want you to know it's me.
All right.
FC. Wait, what'd you say?
I'm a rocking chair commander. We'll get there eventually.
FC Crusader.
Kids off your lawn.
What stands out there for you, FC?
Well, there's a lot of talk about the Ion, so I'm gonna say I used to love the RSI ship, but you know I'm back in 2014, and then a few more MIST ships came out, and that became my favorite manufacturer. But now it's Crusader. I mean, out of all these ships, I have like three of them, and so I'm gonna just say the Star Runner for now. But I do have a question. Why did they rename the Star Runner? Because that's a cool name, a cooler name compared to Mercury.
Yeah.
Well, it is the Mercury Star Runner. It's kind of like the Crusader Hercules A2 M2 C2. It's just it's a little add-on.
Yeah, you know, it's interesting because they have these. Crusader does this, right? It's like the Crusader, Genesis Starliner. It's the Mercury Star Runner. It's it's the Hercules Starlifter. You know, they've got these almost three names for their titles, and trying to isolate. You know, was the Hercules series. Obviously, Genesis was going to have a series because they were going to have variants on the Genesis ships. So I don't know. It's just kind of what they did with their name for some reason, you know.
Yeah, there's a little bit of a story on that too, because I remember a long time ago in 10 for the Chairman, there was a story about the Starliner Genesis having a few different variants, and one of those has become the Hercules, the Star Lifter.
Oh, okay.
But there's another one, I can't quite remember the name right now, but it's the one that just is a giant gun. And I would be curious to see, they maybe made that into the Ares. I don't think so.
Yeah.
But if they haven't, I want to see a Crusader that's just a giant gun. That would be great.
In my opinion.
Well, I'm talking like Idris size gun.
Oh, cool. I mean, size 7 it's a giant gun in my opinion, but
we need a
Star Bomber.
That's what
one of my friends in Discord who's watching on the side said, yeah, Star Bomber. It's a one-time talked about variant of the MSR.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Apparently, yeah.
Okay. All right, Kelosal, you're going to wrap it up here. Which one of these Crusader ships, man? Which one are you going to point at?
I mean, I do like to remind everybody that Crusader is particularly fond of Greek mythology.
Yeah.
Because all the ships are named after Greek characters.
It's kind of their hubris.
I mean, I got the M2, loved the M2. Love the Mercury for what it does and what it can do. I'm still waiting for the gameplay to come. I'm still waiting for the Starliner. I mean, I mean, all these are very, very good ship. Crusaders on the rise, and you know, especially with Orison or Orison in play right now. I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if a lot of people were purchasing the Mercury, and I've seen a lot of Mercuries out there. But yeah. I'm still waiting for the Starliner. Still waiting for that, baby.
Okay, that's the one, huh?
Yeah, passenger gameplay is going to be it for me. I think it's going to be fantastic. Than mining.
Okay. Well, I will say this. It seems like the community definitely has a love for Crusader, especially their design. Even with what happened with the nerfing of the Ares series, they seem to be one of the most well-liked and most popular. I don't think I've ever heard people speak negatively like, oh, I don't like the look of this in the Crusader line.
I did, unfortunately. One of my friends who's new to it, he didn't like the Mercury. He's like, I don't like the asymmetric. I'm like, It grows on you, but yeah, I can understand.
Really?
Yeah, there's a few.
In general. Oh, yeah. I mean, there's always going to be somebody who doesn't like something, but I'm just saying overall, I think this is one of the most embraced community ships when it comes to aesthetics and design. Yeah, FC.
And also, it reminds a lot of people of the
people keep saying that. I don't know why.
You want to know what my ship's name is?
Just because it's asymmetrical in the dish? Okay, interior because of the circular doors?
Doors when it opens.
Interior,
you know what my MSR's name is the Millennial Falchion.
Oh my gosh.
Well, there you go. There's a tribute. There's a tribute right there. Okay. All right, we got to cut through this because we got 3 more to go. Tumbrel, let's do this one. This won't take us long to do, I don't think. Tumbrel, we've got the Nova Tank, we've got the Cyclone MT, we've got the Cyclone AARNNTR. And I'm gonna go to reload. Which Tumbrel are you tumbling in? The Tonk? The Nova Tonk?
Tonk.
All right.
Just because it jumped down.
All right, WildBeastman shaking his head too. Is that where you going, WildBeastman, with the tongue?
But like, I'm waiting for the Ranger though, man.
Motorcycle
life. Motorcycle life.
Okay. All right. Temporarily it's the tonk, but when the Ranger comes out, you're going there. Lefty.
I plan on having 3 tonks. I've got 2. I've got 2 MTs going for 3. I'm not worried about the Cyclone AA. I've got at least 1 RN probably going for another, and I think I've got 2 TRs.
Okay. So you're a Tumbrel guy. DoggDemon.
Well, let me just say that a lot of people don't like buying ground vehicles because they're so cheap to earn in the game. But I know a lot of these are going to be blowing up. So I've got LTI on all of them.
Fair enough. DoggDemon.
I like the Nova Tonk. Is just, even during Jump Town, they just don't serve that good purpose unless you want to lock someone down inside the building or lock it out. But once you get a good air vehicle on it, it's kind of toast. If it doesn't have support, it's going to get slapped. So I'm not a ground pounder person. I'm more like staying my happy butt in the air. I'm more of a pilot. I do like the Tonk though. The Tonk was the most fun, but I melted it for the Hurricane.
Okay. Okay. Fair enough. Kelosal.
I'm waiting for the Rangers to come out. I think a lot of people was really happy when the MT came out because it replaced pretty much all of them except for the AA.
I was going to ask about that. Yeah. Did you think it impacted it enough that people went more with the MT? So you kind of answered it. Okay.
Yeah, absolutely. The missile range, was quite amazing. The missile was potent. I can shoot down a ship with two missiles. At that time when it came out, 2 or 3 missiles. So, but yeah. I'm definitely looking forward to the Rangers.
Okay.
All 3 of them.
And FC?
Yeah, according to Chad, it seemed like the MT is the favorite, but for me, I'm waiting for the Ranger also. I'm hoping they can make it into like the Batmobile from the Christopher Nolan Batman. So it can go up a wall, change, turn, and fall down. That's what I'm looking forward to.
Okay, we'll make sure that's on the list. Yeah, we'll make sure that's on the list. Okay.
I will have to add something though. The only thing I'm leery about ground vehicles, especially that one, is the exposure. One of the most nastiest, like in terms of just disrespectful bounty kills I've ever gotten. This guy, I don't know why he wasn't paying attention, but he had like a crime stat 3. I'm like, all right, he's on DMR, he's probably cruising around. I get down there, the man's on a hover bike. I'm like, I can shoot at him. I just flip missiles on, lock on, lob it, and dink, dead. And I'm just like, I kind of felt bad for that, but I don't. It's kind of funny. So like in a combat situation, why would you be on?
Hey, that's what he wanted to do.
I accidentally killed like 6 testes that way.
Yeah.
Accidentally.
Well, if you guys remember, for those of you
who Ursa over, and I was like, surely 1 missile won't hurt.
Oh my God! Yeah, it will.
Surely won't. Oh,
yeah, it will.
Don't call me Shirley, okay?
Well, if you think about it, was it the in Boba Fett? Remember when he went after the biker guy? That's what he did. He just wiped them all out from above and just got rid of everybody.
I want to say, Kelosal, I think you were there in the Ursa too, maybe that time. It was on Daymar back in the day.
No comment. No comment. What I will say about the Tumbrels, and this is my only thing I don't like about them, is the fact that there is the exposure that you have with no glass. That's the one thing I dig it in the sense of it's cool because, but obviously we don't feel the air. So that dealing with temperatures is the only thing I'm not that crazy about with the Tumbrels. But Agreed. I think,
steel.
yeah, I think the MT though is definitely the one that a lot of people went with because they felt like they were, like you said, Kelosal, getting a combination of things out of that one, more bang for their buck.
And don't ignore
green or
that the driving's going to change soon.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yes.
that was on an ISD.
Yes. Big time.
Yep.
Yes. Good point.
I'm also looking forward to like a Hummer size tumbrel. Because the Cyclones are kind of like Jeeps, Dune buggies. I want to see a Hummer, 4 seats.
That's your mule.
Yeah, yeah. Well, he means something more that's going to compete. No, but I think he's talking about something that's going to compete more against like Ursa level. I think he's talking about the steps it up
one
again.
seat. I want 4 seats and a turret seat.
Yeah.
Think like Arma 3.
Yeah.
5 testes on the top.
When I hear Hummer for Star Citizen, I'm thinking about the G12 maybe. The Orison G12.
No, please do not. Please don't even lower the G12 into that category.
That's more of a Whistler.
Wow. All right, okay. All right, let's go to Misk. Let's go to let's go to Misk. All right, we've got only 4 ships here. We've got the Freelancer MIS, the Razor EX, the Reliant Tana, and the Starfarer Gemini. I'm going to go to DoggDemon on this one first. What are you looking at out of there?
So the only Misk ship, I love their ships. I don't care for their aesthetic. I like the company's lore. They're one of the few companies that actually work with aliens, which I think is a smart play considering. I'm not a xenophobe, man. I'm all about it. I'll work with Banu. I'll work with anyone. If they're not trying to shoot me, I'm not trying to shoot them. We can work something out. I like the Razor. It is the coolest looking racing ship in the game. Don't even at me. It looks better than any of the M50. Get that out of here. Get that garbage out. Razor looks sleek. It looks like an F1. It's like a Formula car.
Yeah, like an F1.
For the future. Yeah, it looks sleek. It handles amazing.
That's true. That's very true. Okay.
It looks amazing. I love Misks, but just their aesthetic outside of that one, it's like, oh, look at this cool sleek ship, and then you have chunk, and it's like, oh, okay, it's practical. It looks
okay. All right, Razor EX. Yeah. We'll take that one. Yeah. Lefty.
I want to let my secret out of the bag because I think it's already past due, but Misk has my favorite pirate ship of all time. It's the most American pirate ship I think I've ever seen. Starfarer Gemini. When you're dishing out fuel and you just sneak an extra 9 at the end of the rate, I've gotten a couple people and it's been so good just charging them at least an order of magnitude more for their fuel. Sometimes like 2 orders of magnitude more. Yes. As long as they accept it.
This man is evil. You're evil.
That's interesting.
I love that.
I've got at least 2 10-minute videos saved of me sitting there playing neutral with other test guys flying around in active combat at a Lagrangian station, and I'm sitting there in the Starfarer, and they're on my case in Discord like, "Oh, Lefty, why are you fraternizing with the enemy?" And I was like, just wait. And I'm playing dumb, like, hey, anybody want to try refueling? And then so this like guy they're fighting with is like, all right, I'll break off and try that, because the test guys had crime stat, right? And they were fighting a blue guy at a Lagrangian point, so we docked up, and it took a hot minute, but then I just added a couple 9s at the end of the rate.
Oh my god. Okay. There you go. All right.
He had to hit the accept button.
Wow.
Not
at that
fault.
point, yeah, it's done. By the way, last week on ISC, or SCL, whatever it was, they talked about that the Starfarers that Lefty just talked about are getting a rework. So for those of you who love your Starfarer, they said they are going to, that interior, they're definitely going to put some things together. They said the cargo area will stay the same, a couple of the areas, but they know that there needs to be a rework done on the interior. So that's something to look forward to. Reload, what from Misk? Anything from there?
Well, if you don't have a Plana, fly a Tana. That was for that's for Traxxas. That's his favorite ship in the game.
Really?
I'm pretty neutral about all these.
Okay. It's always weird mixed about the Reliant series ships. You know, some people feel they're a bit vulnerable. Other people say they're great and maneuverable, but God, please don't make sure you don't get hit with it. So I never know where they land, but where they stand, I should say. But okay. WildBeastman, any of those ships there out of the Misk series?
Second grade cargo ship. Freelancers, great, but hate the cockpit view. Also, I can't turn off the lights. So if you're in a dark setting, that light's gonna just fog up your, windshield. So
okay, all right. FC, Misk.
I've had a freelancer MIS, the Mist. Like I said, the Mist is my second favorite manufacturer after the Crusader now. I remember something else now. I forgot what I upgraded to, but from this list, the freelancer MIS. I love missile boats.
Okay. Surprised nobody picked that until now that you picked it. Okay. Hey, Kelosal, what about you?
I mean, I love the Razor's look. You know, other than the fact that she can only do well when she's going in a straight line. But I mean, the freelancers. I'll speak on behalf of my brother. He's still waiting on that rework with the engines. He's still waiting on it.
Yeah. Let me. Just because you said that, do you think that? And I know you're a big Misk fan. Are you hoping and liking that direction that they went with the rework of the interior when we saw the whole A? Do you think that that's what they're going to translate? Okay, good. Okay, go ahead.
Yeah, I was just going to get to that because when we just heard about the cockpit of the freelancers, I believe the whole A will reestablish that because the whole A's interior is quite nice. It's a little bit lower. It doesn't. You don't have that type of a view in the whole A. You have a better view in the whole A pit, and we see the Odyssey is about to come out. So I'm quite sure that it's going to take that type of interior as well. We're dealing with that. I think you're going to see a major rework with the earlier ships, especially the freelancers when it comes to including probably the Starfarers. So it's gonna be interesting to see. Yeah,
because it's not just on that whole A, it's not just the interior design, but their exterior design became much more streamlined. I love it. I loved it, and especially compared to what the whole A's looked like originally, which they looked very, not that they wasn't they industrial, but there was something about the design that felt weird.
Misk is just a fantastic manufacturer. Yeah, and it's by far my favorite. By far.
Yeah.
Well, in the Lord, wasn't the Misk stopped being used by the UE because it kept exploding?
I don't know.
Because
I think it was their ties. I think it was their ties to the aliens. They were one of the only manufacturers who were kind of like, "Hey, look, why don't we work with them? Like, we gotta."
But he's saying that there was some mechanical issue. They're doing Xi'an. They've got the merger with the Xi'ans, but Reload, you're saying there was some problem. You're saying they were having in the lore with them at some point or something.
Yeah, with loading the missiles, they were unreliable at some point. It kept exploding. I want them to add that
when you share tech with the aliens.
Lefty says it was an alien plot. Lefty says it was an alien plot that Xi'an sabotaged. Okay. All right. Okay.
You just want something to shoot at, don't you? You don't even care if it's innocent. It's like, listen, I don't care if they're innocent. I gotta shoot at something.
All right, we're gonna go to the last the manufacturer that's up for this weekend, and that's not Misk, Drake Interplanetary. And from Drake, we've talked about a couple of these. We've got the Buccaneer, the Caterpillar, all the Cutlass series, which would be the black, blue, and the red, and the steel. And then we've got the Dragonfly Black. They didn't mention the yellow jacket, just the black. And the Herald. We have all those listed. Let me start out with FC this time on this one. FC, any Drake ships that capture your attention?
The Drake Mule, the Drake LTI token.
Yes, thank you for mentioning Mule. I completely forgot the Mule. The new vehicle, the Mule. Is that the one you're picking? Because a lot of people are excited about the Mule.
Yeah, I mean, it's a trucker truck. So yeah.
Okay.
I don't know if I got one and I converted it into a second Endeavor, right? So I have two Endeavors in my hangar now. I didn't. I use real money to get the Mule, but I use RSI credit to change into an Endeavor. But yeah, the Drake Mule. I don't know how much use I'm going to get in the game, but. Yeah, I do like the style of it, and it's a great LTI token, $40.
Okay, so. Now I got to say this to you. I asked you earlier about your Banu merchantman, and you said, "Oh, I'm going to hire somebody." Blah blah blah. I mean, is this something that you would? Because that merchantman has a huge hangar area for cargo. Is this something that you would have on your ships that you need if you have to move something around?
Yeah,
this would be your forklift or whatever, something like that.
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, I would get someone else to do it.
Okay. All right. Cool. Blossom, what about? Go ahead.
Black Sky Legion. It's $40 war bond.
Yeah. Kelosal, what about you? Out of Drake, all of the things we listed here, and the Mule.
I mean, Drake is just the bad boy of the group. I just love the way how Drake comes in with his being almost like being antisocial. But I definitely love the mule. This vehicle behind me is going to be fantastic. I mean, it's just going to be a fantastic looking vehicle. When you go ahead and use this to go ahead and haul around cargo, you're not only just hauling on cargo both in the front and the back, but you're also hauling cargo, the little ones that you carry on the sides, on both sides of the little ground vehicle.
Yeah.
And so, I mean, there's a Q&A out there. I haven't read all the Q&A, but from what I've seen so far, it's pretty good with the Q&A. The Cutlass series, I mean, still everybody's fan favorites. Everybody's amazed with the cockpits, and there's a difference between obviously the Cutlass red, blue, and black in terms of the cockpits, and now the steel. We can't miss that part. I'm always amazed. Is the one ship that I do love the most, and I move quickly from this, other than the ship that's an engine. Is the Buccaneer. I mean, she's a glass cannon, and DoggDemon said something about her earlier. If that Buccaneer gets a hold of you, she's ripping you to shreds until you get to her. She's ripping you to shreds. So be careful. That Buccaneer is a pain in the butt.
Okay, fair enough. DoggDemon, I'm going to go move to you on that, on the Drake. Anything in particular stands out?
I actually don't. The only Drake ship that I respect Drake. It is an edgelord company. Drake is to me the company that people kind of greatly overestimate. It's the Honda Civic of all the ships. You can take it apart. Oh, you lost an engine? Find one. Pink. There you go. It's done. All right, whatever. Terrible. Your engine dropped. Yeah, well, next shipping yard will find a part. Like, it's cool because it's going to be that cheap. It can kind of do it all. Okay. I like the Herald because people don't think about the Herald being a reconnaissance ship. It doesn't matter if people can see it. You can zoom into someone's base, look at them, scan it, and then
get out of there.
So even if they lob a missile, if they send a fighter, it's the fastest ship currently in the game. You can't catch it. Once it's gone, it's gone. So especially in group battles, you can send that thing, scan, have someone kind of sight things, and then boom and zoom the heck out of there, and then you have all the information.
Good point. Good point.
Other than that, I'm gonna say some blasphemous words, and this is not from a place of like malice, but I greatly feel people greatly overestimate the capability of the Cutlass Black. I'm not personally impressed with Cutlasses. I think they're a great all-rounder, but it's amusing to me when people get in the dogfight and they go, well, why did I die? You have a massive silhouette. I get at the belly of your ship. None of my shots are gonna miss you. Like, it's an easy to disable, easy to kill ship. It's great all-rounder, but people, I feel, really overestimate its ability because of the name. It's Drake, it's cool, I got a gunner, I have this, but it's like, you get in a fight with an Origin or Aegis or a Crusader ship, and it's not going to end well for you.
Look, she wasn't the ship to get an Arena Commander. She was not the ship to get an Arena Commander. I mean,
a lot of newer players mistaken. A lot of newer players, a little bit of extra cash flow. Personally, this is my observation, so I have no scientific backing on it. But my observation is just a lot of people go, well, why am I Cutlass dying to fight? What is the one on the Cutlass? Did I get something different? Why did I get because they have their friend who told them, oh, get a Cutlass is the best one. And it's like, no.
I think that the issue with the Cutlass becomes, I think WildBeastman talked about how the Avenger was kind of like that step up from a starter that you could expand to, and I think the Cutlass becomes the next one after that. It has the flexibility of multi-crew. It can carry cargo. You can put a vehicle on it, and you could fight in it. It's a jack of all trades, but to your point, DoggDemon, it is not a master of none. So you cannot, like you said, if you're going to go to combat, I mean, seriously, if you're a good pilot, you can manage it, right? But like you said, if you're looking for that fighter and someone tells you, oh, get a Cutlass, it's $100, you can fight. You may be disappointed ultimately when it's all said and done. So to your point,
I just want to say quickly, Go Mad has your favorite saying, fly Drake, dine Drake.
Okay, all right. Lefty, let me hit you up on that on the Drakes. What you got?
So, well, let me just say, while other people have their ambitions of food carts, I'm thinking food mall, while I'm going to bring double dogs to the verse.
Let's go.
You got double dogs.
I forgot my torpedo burrito, unfortunately.
So, I'll just say, I cannot wait for the Kraken. Every single time I see that video.
That is a cool one. I will take back what I said.
But the Kraken's not on the list. You got to go with what's on the list. But it was sold. It was sold. It was sold, admittedly. And my understanding was it sold the first day very quickly, if I'm not mistaken.
I wish I had that kind of cash flow.
Well, I mean, I've got a lot of comments kind of about Drake Interplanetary just from the Citizen Con, or not Citizen, from Invictus, that it really put out there that we were watching ship commercials in high definition in the game on projectors at the Drake Hall, which was separate. And even though it was the same Drake Hall as last year, the introduction of that big screen there, I just, when I walked in and I saw that, I'm like, wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
It was
You
nice.
did a good job. It was pretty.
Hey,
And then the other
for the
thing I'll
subscription.
say, thank you for the subscription. But so the other thing that I'd say, right now there's a Drake pack out there, and frankly, I have a really hard time not clicking buy it sitting in my cart right now. And it's the broad load, and it's got the Caterpillar, it's got a Cutlass Black and 2 mules, which are test paint. You know, they're black and yellow, pretty much.
Yeah.
And so, man, I've got that and a couple paints, and I'm about to click the button.
Yeah. And admittedly so, because we're seeing that game loop close up with that Caterpillar now for loading stuff into that thing. The only thing that has to come after that is the modularity, and I think Caterpillar owners are going to go crazy and be thrilled to death. So that's a great point. Reload, talk to me. What's up, Drake?
Drake is my favorite manufacturer. Okay. And I think of this on this list, I think the steel, just because it's overpriced, it's shiny. It seems like it would be one of those bikini-clad booth babes that got ousted.
Hey, thanks for the
She'd be hanging off
subscription.
over it. I mean, I really, really like how ridiculous this is when you can get like 6 people and they're all shooting guns in different directions. It's just fun as hell.
Okay. All right. Very cool. And WildBeastman, Drake.
Like you were on this conversation before, just on Dog. Don't care for the Cutlass. I've had it, and it was just like I get shot around too much. I would rather take a Freelancer Max, more shields, get around a bit more. But when I choose something, cargo hauling 2, Cat's great. It just the C2 just I got more now. So
Okay, fair enough.
Can I say one other
before we
thing?
move on. Oh, go ahead.
All right. So it's very ironic. Out of all the companies, the only one that's actually got police lights on their ship is Drake.
Oh, that is ironic. I didn't think of that.
But no sirens, just a light.
I mean, you can't have
Make your
sirens.
own-
in space,
Beautiful.
I just want to say, now that I got my mule, I just got for my 40 acres now. So and until then, yeah.
Yeah. Been waiting centuries on that one.
they'll bring it back. They'll bring it back.
Yeah, I will say.
Oh, he's on the phone, probably.
Oh, okay. He's okay.
All right,
Yeah.
so
Can we take over the show? Anyway.
We're still on Drake and the Planet.
Okay,
but
I'm
we can
back,
move
guys.
on
Sorry
to-
about that.
go ahead.
Thank you, Fastcart. I'm sorry. Yeah. Had a family emergency there. Sorry. Okay. We're off the Drake, right? We hit everybody. Oh no, Fastcart,
we
you
off
didn't give
the
me
Drake.
yours. Did you give me yours? Did you tell me what you?
Dog Mule.
Oh, the mule and Kelosal. You gave me yours, right? Yes. I was going to say the Cuddy Red, and I'm still big on the whole wanting to see that whole medical gameplay thing get picked up. That's still something I want to do. I still want to do the ambulance runs. I still want to do that. I've done it in the game. Haven't done it with the red enough. I've often been in other ships when I've done it, but I still want to do that. That's something that I'm still very interested in doing in the game. So I'm going to go.
Well,
I'm
for
looking
medical-
forward to the day when that green healing beam kind of goes away,
Yes.
just like tractor beams. You
Yes.
know, like right now we got a
Yes.
green healing beam as a makeshift,
Mhm.
and I want to see it. So you got to like actually walk up,
Yep.
take a second, look at the injury, and like at least stick them where the injury is.
Exactly.
Not just be like, "Boo, there you
It's
go."
done. Right. Exactly. Okay.
See some mending bones.
Let me jump to, we're at the finale here, and that you guys know the next day, this is when they're going to put everything back on sale. So I want to go to each person on the panel today and say if there was something that you're going to buy or you are going to buy, because they may have waited until the end. I want to know what would be their recommendation for something to buy. That's basically what I'm asking. What's their recommendation from everything that we covered today? So I'm going to start with DoggDemon first. DoggDemon, if there was something out of all the manufacturers, everything that was out there this week, what do you think is the thing to go for? To buy, or for yourself? You say if it's for you, what would it be?
That I don't already own a Javelin. I'm gonna say for me, a javelin. I want a javelin.
That's
already.
your next step. Is a
Hell
javelin?
yeah, brother.
Next javelin. Okay, that's your next step.
It's gonna be hammerhead then javelin, but I don't have that kind of expendable cash income, so it's like
okay, but that's the aspiration. That's the aspiration is for a javelin.
Once the indie game company thing I got going on helps out what I'm helping out with, a lot of the money, even the CEO is a Fanistar citizen. He actually has the red AMD ship.
Okay.
He's so he's got that rare one. I'm like, dude, you know how much that's worth? He goes, I'm not gonna sell it.
Mustang Omega, that's the one I want. Oh man,
he has it. Like because I was talking about it because I'm third in command of the company, so it's really nice to kind of sit there and talk about different games, and we do what we call R&D. We'll sit there and play other games. So I'm sitting there playing at the studio one night, and he goes, "Let me show you mine." And I look, I'm like,
and he's got the AMD.
You have the AMD. He goes, "What about it?" I'm like, "Do you know how rare this is?" He goes, "I have not a clue." I'm like, "Dude, you can't get this physically anymore." That in the Intel one, he goes, "Huh, well that's cool." He was all proud. So, but the javelin, I think I just love the aesthetic. I love watching that thing during the Ninetales fight. It is so cool. Those cannons. I mean, I think the only one I want more is literally the bangle. If I could, the bangle is the only other one I want.
All right. Okay, fair enough. O-Lefty, what's your pick for somebody in this game?
Frankly, I mean, I kind of gave the sale on the Drake package. I really think that it's a good value if you've got that kind of cash to throw at something right away. You know, it depends on your price level. For me, the bigger the better. Okay. But at this point, I'm just buying for redundancy. I want to see what's over the horizon. What next capital ship are they going to come out with? Because, you know, I don't keep track of a lot of this stuff, but I can't remember the last time they actually came out with capital military ship. Not that they necessarily need to. And of course, it would be built way down the line, but I'm excited for maybe an Anvil capital. They came out with the Liberator, got one of those right away, but anything that's just a big military capital ship so I can base a squad of test Star Marines out of it and go play missions together.
Can I ask a question now that you mentioned that, Lefty? Was the Liberator out there put for sale? Did it go up for sale?
It was a hologram, and I think it was for sale.
Was it?
Yeah, it's up there.
It's up there. Okay, all right, cool. I knew it was the hologram, but I just didn't remember if it went up for sale or not because I don't remember seeing it. But okay, cool. All right, Reload. What you picking?
I would say the Aurora, because if you have with the starter pack, so if you the game package, because if you're watching this and you don't have it, come in and play with us. I mean, that's all it really is about. Just play this game. You're going to have a ton of fun. 2023 is going to be the year. Just get an Aurora, something cheap, come in and play. We'll get you something bigger later.
I'm glad you said that, Reload. For anybody, if you are new to the game, you know, we don't want you to think that you have to buy any of this. To your point, you can come in at that base level at $45, get an Aurora, and every ship in the game now is accessible. You can work for it in game and you can get it. You don't have to lay out all this cash. And not to mention, if you're in an organization or if you know somebody like a DoggDemon, or if you're in a group like TEST Squadron, people have plenty of ships to say, hey, you can fly this, you can try it out. So don't feel compelled to think that just because we've had Invictus that you've got to go out and spend all this money. Being in an org is one of the best things about being an org is the fact that people will say, hey, I may have 10 ships, but guess what? I can only fly one, and I can let you fly one of the other ones that I have. So that's something there. WildBeastman, what would be your pick, your recommendation for something off the list here?
Yeah, good starter package. The Pisces is $45 for a discounted war bond. You know, that's a good thing. But my pick was it also snuck in there. I didn't know it was going to be for sale, but the Corsair. You know, it gets you the Connie temporary, but
nice. Okay, very cool. Yeah, the Pisces is another one of those like everybody found out how great it would be, right? You can do the cargo with it. You can carry people in it. It's fast, fuel efficient. And yeah, very cool. Kelosal, he's a little fuzzy there, but we know he's there. He's got his big sign behind him now. If there is something Kelosal that you would recommend or pick, what would it be?
Nothing. I mean, I was going to go ahead and piggyback off what you were saying. I was doing the devil's advocate here.
Yeah.
You know, in terms of people who already have an item, you don't need to purchase anything, guys. There's some people who are uncomfortable about purchasing it. You can go ahead and get it in game. So that's why I put this up there. This is just purely for role playing. But if I had to buy anything, Griff, if I wanted to, it would. I'm still picky. I talk to Nihilus about this all the time. I'm picky about getting the Javelin. I mean, that's one of the things that That is
Yeah, you've been going back and forth about that javelin for a little while now. You're still thinking about
for
it.
years.
Yeah.
Don't worry, Kelosal, you're always welcome on mine.
Thank you, O-Lefty. I appreciate it, buddy.
Double around.
I mean, look, when I purchased that Idris, I was like, that's it, I'm done, right? And then when they finally put out the Idris and Invictus, right, and the Invictus was right next to the javelin, I was so disappointed. I was like, good God. You know, because of the size.
Yeah.
You look at the Idris, you're like, oh, that's my baby. And then you look at the javelin, you're like,
Bigger.
you know,
The javelin is you, the guy she told you not to worry about.
right.
Yeah.
And it's bigger than the Idris, sense like.
But in straight defense of my economic prowess, if I purchased that baby, she would be running with the engines off and the lights on emergency or off, because that's a lot of money to maintain that ship.
You could be like a parent. Hey, who got that? Who turned that light off? I'm sorry. No. Turn that light off right now. Like,
turn the light off, unplug the microwave.
Yeah.
Players in the microwave. What you doing? I'm getting food.
I can understand that.
Who left the door open? You got eggs in the whole space?
Yeah. No, it's an investment.
Close the window.
Yeah, it's an
Only the
investment.
Sith doing absolutes.
Oh no.
When you dock into the station and open the outside and the inside of your airlock just to get that atmosphere in.
Yep.
You're letting the hot air out.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm sorry.
FC, what would be your pick off the list?
So my pick is to go to Star Atlas Route and drop $10,000 and get the F8 Lightning. No, I'm kidding. The Drake Mural. It's a great LTI token if you want to plan for the future. But everyone else gave good advice for the Pisces at the starter package. So.
You know, that's an interesting point. There's a lot of people that say they wish they would release a package where you could just have no ship and just play as a vagabond and earn your way up. Why not just issue to a mule and have a mule game package?
Yeah.
And then it's the same thing, right? You can't go anywhere.
Wins.
And it comes with a 4-kilometer plot of land.
Yeah,
4 acres?
4 kilometers of the mule, right?
Or you're playing Farming Simulator Star Citizen Edition.
Acres of non
Yeah.
harvestable land.
Yeah. I will say this, for my recommendation, it would be, to come into the game with a starter package, like Kelosal said, get your feet wet. Obviously this was a free fly week, but come in, start at the base. A lot of people, as we always say, if you're supporting the development of the game, that's one thing. If you want to buy ships and spend money, but there's 0 to hero for this game is really going to be good. And there are people even now when the game resets, even though they have ships, there are people who say, I go back and start with my Aurora and work my way up, building up the ships that I have because they enjoy that level of gameplay. So, we may be talking all these ships and all these big ships and stuff, but most of the people who are in this room right now have been here 5 years plus at least, and they didn't get there overnight. But they're here because they're also strong backers and supporters of the game. So we do tell people, don't get caught up in the hype. And the community.
Live within your means.
Yeah, don't get caught up in the hype. It's very easy to see stuff, and there are plenty of times when all of us have probably at some point says, I'm not spending any more money. And yeah, okay, that doesn't last very long. So avoid the black hole, stay out of the rabbit hole, and have fun, connect with people, and enjoy the game. We got some questions and answers, guys, real quick for you guys. So one of them comes from Pops in Space. He says, would anyone use the Legionnaire for pizza delivery? Is anybody going to deliver pizza? Yeah. I know Sigelian would. Reload, you said you're going to do the little van. Are you going to deliver food?
No, I'm launching burritos.
You're launching burritos. Okay.
I will do any mission in the game. I will play the game to experience the game. If there's a pizza delivery mission, let's do it.
You're doing it? All right, cool. All right, and then Vale Grumby asks, under on server meshing coming in 2023. I'm not completely sure what that means.
Confidence in the estimate of when it's coming.
Confidence.
Confidence. This is what they've told us. They've told us that first quarter of next year, they want to begin implementing it, and it will be over time. It's not going to be something that just drops and it's all there. This whole next level of us moving toward 4.0 is going to be a process, and we know that it is a part of 4.0.
Oh, geez.
Isle Spartan, wow.
Just
Isle
like everything else.
Thank you so much, as always. Thank you for the 10 gift subs, you guys. Send some love to Isle Spartan. Great supporter for our group. Thank you so much. So yes, we are looking forward to seeing server meshing, something that we've all been waiting for quite a while. And
I'll also say that I've started putting in quite a few more issue council reports just because I personally feel now that they've got the persistent entity streaming tech demo proven, all the hurdles are kind of out of the way. And frankly, I want to be on that first day, no matter how buggy and crashy it is, experience
trying it out,
of this transition in gaming.
Yep. Something to look forward to. Absolutely.
I'm gonna say from a standpoint, now that my foot's like really in the gaming industry thing, I'm kind of more patient. Like I've always been patient with CIG, but especially now being a business development lead, watching the two leads above me,
you got a better understanding. You got a better understanding, right?
Better understanding, and it's like, man, I'm gonna wait till CitizenCon. I feel we're gonna be pleasantly surprised by CitizenCon, just by the rumblings and thing I pay attention to. Like it's my job to pay attention and listening to these, oh my goodness, it escapes my brain when they keep talking about it week to week. And they're showcasing stuff.
Inside Star Citizen.
Inside Star Citizen. There's certain little rumblings thing I'm paying attention to going, they're obviously avoiding certain things. So I'm gonna reserve what I think's gonna go on until I see what they're gonna showcase this year at CitizenCon.
That's
you wanna enjoy it.
Yes, that's a
I wanna enjoy it. I feel that's what people need to do.
Enjoy it instead of live through the hell as like a tester.
It's like, why is this? I kinda like I tell people, like my people who play the game, I'm raging. I hate it that I lost all my ship. I'm like, you know what my advice is? What should I do? Stop playing, go play something else.
Don't drive yourself crazy.
Go do something else. Like go touch some grass. Go like do something else. It's okay. The game has wait a minute. Hold on, guys. Every time we buy a new ship, what does it say in the nomenclature right there and all this stuff?
Stop. Do you think gamers read? Come on, DoggDemon. You know better than that. Come on. What the heck? All right,
but I think it's worth being said though that correct me if I'm wrong, but I think everybody here in this panel is patient. They're confident that it will happen, not necessarily in the time scale, and they even say that in the letter to the from the chairman that it's not likely that it's going to hit when it's spoken to be hit. It's probably going to get pushed a little bit, but it's a when, not an if. I'm a very firm believer in that.
Yes.
This is my retirement plan.
When you said patient, Reload looked up. He was worried about the guys with the straitjackets coming, so you got him nervous for a second. All right, we got two more questions that popped up. Shim Pasta says, recently he CCU'd a Vulcan to a Crucible. Do you all think that we will be able to rent out our ships to other players? And that has come up before. That CIG has talked about that, and that will be something that you do for yourself. Now, we don't know what they're going to do in relation to persistence, because some of you all know, like if I let you use my prospector and you go mining with it, there's an issue of you being able to sell the product that was on it. I don't think they've ever fixed that. I think I still have to be the one to cash it in, but we are going to see
the answer.
Yeah, there are shrimp rentals of the game, and go ahead, DoggDemon. What are you going to say?
I was going to say, do you remember on Spectrum, they already stated when you're in an organization, you can set your ships and levels of people who you trusted to the ship.
And
so what they do carry on. So that kind of makes that like, permissions. I think that's going to be their answer. I don't think you can, that'll be a tricky system, renting out a ship, because then someone could be a jerk and just ram your ship into the ground. It's like, oh well, crap.
And you can honestly role play that now, because you can. I mean, we keep talking about. O-Lefty just said it and said, "Hey, Kelosal, you're welcome on my Javelin." There are times that you can go ahead and take out your ship. We do that test all the time, and I'm quite sure you guys do it in your organizations, where you sit there and say, "You don't have that ship, don't worry, I'll pull it up for you, and I'm going to go ahead and roll with it." So you can even do that now to a certain degree.
Yeah, the difference.
I'm confident that eventually it'll happen. Yeah, I'm confident that eventually it'll happen, but it's been dependent upon the entity graph being implemented. And other technology that actually gives you that relational storage of data, because right now all of our ships are basically just some database, and it's per person and per account. It's not shareable like.
And that's a tricky thing to pull.
Well, they've already got a bit of that implemented in this past patch. They were talking about the entity graph and the replication layer in now. So
we noticed this the other day. Kelosal talked about the fact that now we're seeing shared inventory. You can't do anything, but they've created shared inventory where you can see, where before your inventory was your inventory. So like you said, Lefty, they are moving. It's moving in that direction. So we're getting there. We got one more question. Do you think that they should increase the player service cap, and that's from AKA Mr. Bot. Do you think that they should?
No, not yet.
Not yet.
No,
Not yet.
I mean, obviously we know we want them to. There's no question about obviously wanting more people to play and expand. If you've watched some of the CIG videos in relation to when they talked about the shards and the meshing and all that, it's all kind of hand in hand. Obviously more players. Chris has talked about having 500, 1,000, whatever, how many people in a server. So that's a part of the long range goal. Some of us have been around when they have fluctuated the numbers. Some of us were around back when there were only, was it 25 of us in the server back in the day, Lefty? How many was it? Was it 25?
Well, before that, it was none.
Like
it was just you in a hangar.
Yeah, right in a hangar, right.
I came after that.
Before that, it was zero. There wasn't even a hangar.
Right.
You couldn't even
It
get
was
to
just
Yella.
a dream.
Yeah.
You had Grimhex, and Grimhex was the good luck, have fun even getting to your ship. And it was like, what? And open the door, people are shooting each other, and it's like, oh,
yeah.
Okay.
Mr. Bot, we have fluctuated in numbers. We have fluctuated. Go ahead, Lefty.
There's one kind of obvious answer to me with this kind of question, and that's it's about setting expectations, because the Star Citizen journey through development has not been smooth at all whatsoever. I'm really happy with how the community is right now, where you're seeing a lot of people turning from a negative to a positive view, and I think a lot of that is just because things are getting to a point where, notwithstanding this past week where there's been a shit ton of, pardon my French, issues because of encumbrance of people just logging into the servers, record numbers in funding, record numbers of concurrent players, record numbers of free fly, record numbers of just ships being out there, and everything going on in this past week. But immediately prior to this past week, we've had the most playable version of the game to date.
I was getting
it is smooth.
Yeah.
We see it on our Discord too.
Smooth.
Yeah.
We see a lot of new people in Discord.
Yeah, and it's difficult to gauge
that's
it.
the expectations. That's the. Let me just say the point is expectations are now at a point where everybody that comes in on a daily basis is expecting a relatively smooth gameplay experience. Yes, there are all of the Star Citizen bugs, but you can actually get in and now get the frame rates with a modern PC, and also you can play with those 50 other players. And what you'll see as far as the player cap, you'll see that change when we have server meshing, but not just because it's the server cap, but because there will be people playing a planet over, and you'll be playing on one planet, and you'll be on one server, and they'll be on another server, but you're in the same verse. So I think that we need to break out of the mentality of what can one server handle, and it's going to be what experience am I going to have in the game just in my immediate vicinity versus the verse as a whole. And I think you're going to see a huge change across the industry when Star Citizen really makes this a reality, hopefully within the next year.
Yeah. So there's a lot that can happen with this. Again, we all want to see more players because we want to invite our friends. Our orgs want to be able to group up. We understand that, but it's all a part of this process. But over the next year, I think you're going to see that. I think that, not to mention the fact that when Pyro is implemented, let's just, for the sake of theory, that Pyro gets implemented within the next year, obviously to give us that much more space, which is 2.5 the size of Stanton. It would be really crazy to just have 50 people. You know what I mean? It already feels empty now, even with NPCs becoming implemented. So definitely, I think that, I guarantee you CIG is working toward a cap that moves up, and there's no question about that.
A funny story from Star Citizen yesterday. One of the devs are talking about they've been sharing a meme amongst each other about the servers being on fire because there's so many new players coming in. So they're getting a lot of data and they're getting a lot of information from so many people coming to this Invictus. So hopefully we'll see some improvement down the line because of it.
Absolutely.
It crashed my potato computer. I got into near port. Oh, I was like, this is nice. A fight broke out. My computer went, ha, you peasant, crash.
All right. Well, listen, we're going to wrap this up because we went over time today, big time, but we still got a few more things that we want to share with you guys. Yesterday, for those of you, and fastcart just mentioned it, we had a virtual bar citizen. It was, I think this was the first time we did it in relation to Invictus. Is that right, fastcart? I don't know if we tied it into Invictus before. So we did this in relation to Invictus 2952. And some of the people who are here right now were here with us yesterday, but we had a great time yesterday. We had about 100 people that came through and hung out with us throughout the day. Actually, a little bit more than that because some people came and went. But we had a great group of folks. We had folks from CIG who were also there with us as usual. Jake Acapella was there. Disco Lando was there. Xylo was there. And then, of course, we had some other people. Knight Rider. Many of you all know who Knight Rider is, who manages the forums and Spectrum. We had Michael B who showed up. I can't think of the one guy, something T.O. He was there.
Big T.O.
And then, yeah, Big T.O. And then we also had Dennis. Can't think of Dennis's last name. Dennis is the guy who runs the networks. He was there yesterday. Yeah, and yes, and we just had a really, really great time. We started, I think how long did we go, fastcart? Was it 8 hours yesterday, roughly? Something like that?
8 hours.
8 hours. Yeah, but we had a really, really, really good time yesterday. So thank you to everybody who came out and participated in the Bar Citizen yesterday, the virtual Bar Citizen. Once again, thank you to the folks over at Yacht Club who helped co-sponsor it, and those who volunteered to help us managing the event, because it was a very, very long day. Yes, NCIG, as always, as they gave great donations. We had some great giveaways. We gave away some Legionnaires, we gave away some Mules, we gave away some Scorpiuses, and we just had a good time yesterday. So I want to say thank you to them for that. Next up, I want to say that we're having our first sponsored, Soul Citizen sponsored Bar Citizen in person in Chicago on next Saturday, June the 4th. It's going to be at Goose Island Brewery here in Chicago. So if you're in the Midwest, if you're in Detroit, Milwaukee, St. Louis, Springfield, Minnesota, if you are in any of those areas and you want to come to our Bar Citizen that we're hosting, we are going to be having that on next Saturday at 6 p.m. Central Time. And we hope that you guys can join us for that. There is registration. It is on Eventbrite if you want to look it up there. We also have a link that we're going to put into the chat for you so you guys can come and join us for that as well. Let's see. What else do we have going on? Oh, this is going to be our last week that we're going to promote the Astro Dance campaign. For those of you all who know Paul Shelley of the Astro Pub, we put out a link on Spectrum saying that we want to see this emote put in the game called the Astro Dance, and we are so tired of that funky chicken. So we want you all to make sure that you all go to the link that we're placing in there. Do it now, don't do it later because you'll forget. But we want the Astro Dance thrown in as a emote for Star Citizen. Paul Shelley has done so much to contribute to this community, whether it's doing lore, whether it's doing his talk show. He's just a really cool guy. He's promoted so many of the streamers. DoggDemon, I met DoggDemon because of him being on Paul Shelley's show. So we want you guys to go to the link, upvote it. Please upvote it. Don't forget to upvote it, because we really want to see something like this pop into the game, because we think it'll be so cool for the community. Okay, I can take a deep breath here. The next thing, I know there's so much stuff that we're trying to squeeze in. All right, the last thing that we want to squeeze in for today is a music video of our friends from New Soul. As you guys know, whenever there's sometimes like a major event that happens in the community, they take the time out to create music videos in relation to that, and they find variations on the music of Pedro, and they put their own spin to it, and usually very, very cool stuff that they put out. So cool that it usually gets on the RSI website and people upvote it, and they have been nice enough to let us premiere those videos when they come out. So we've got another one. We're going to show this to you. Of course, it's tied into Invictus, and we're going to let you guys see it right now. So sit back, relax, and enjoy it. Here we go.
The first human-Tiveran war was an interstellar conflict between the United Planets of Earth and the Tiveran sovereignty, which lasted between 2542 and 2546. Rachel Locke, a local with no military training, organized the survivors for increasingly daring strikes to disrupt the Tiveran occupiers. The group became known as the Greys.
Back in the mix. It's all good, we keep feeding the same traces, providing funky bases, overcoming all phases.
Invictus. $29.52.
This is a time when traditions are passed on from one generation to another, in honor, pride, and duty. Will you answer the call?
Invictus is a ceremony organized by the United Empire of Earth Navy, which marks the beginning of the new recruitment year. It is an official holiday in the UEE. It is celebrated annually in the period between Emancipation Day and Armistice Day, the final week in May. The event is meant as a tool to promote participation in the Navy, as well as show awareness for the history of naval events. The event is also used by ship and armament manufacturers as an opportunity to display their contribution to the military fleet. All right. It didn't get much funkier than that.
That was good.
It didn't get much funkier than that. So I hope you all enjoyed that. Lefty and Reload and WildBeastman, you guys got to get a little funk today. Got some funk. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. DoggDemon. Shout out to New Soul as always for once again allowing us to premiere their video here, which is very, very cool. WildBeastman, I'm so sorry that I'm just blocking you out completely here. I got to figure out which one of these things is over you.
Well, hey, Griffin, can I mention 2 quick things while we're closing out?
Yeah, what's up?
I want to say I'm going to change my recommendation for what to buy, and I would just say that, you know, I've been reading a little bit of the chat as it scrolls through, and the recommendation that I regularly make to people, a lot of us have been here with the game a long time and have accumulated quite a few ships, and similar to Kelosal, don't buy new ships if you don't already have a gaming PC that can play this game well, start sacking it away and get a PC for the game. That's my recommendation for what to buy. And number two, and we just touched on it very briefly during the discussion, but I had the chance in the PTU to play through the new Ninetales event at Orison, Siege of Orison, and it
no spoilers.
Kind of blew me away.
Yeah, no spoilers.
I'm not going to spoil it at all, but I'm just going to say, when you get a chance to play it, no matter how screwy the clouds make Orison for you, make the time to go down and play through Siege of Orison. It was so freaking cool.
I wish I could.
Yep, and there's some folks here who are agreeing with you in chat.
Yeah, this is what happens when you give Chris Roberts time to develop a game.
Yes.
Because those of us who follow Chris Roberts, when you give him time to develop a game, we've seen the games that he's developed. They're pretty good. They're really good. So thank you to the backers who've given support to the community and the company, because it's definitely helped out.
Thank you all for your donations to make the dream come true.
Yeah, and by the way, this lends itself back to just a little over a year ago when we heard Tony Zurovic talk about the implementation of these dynamic events, and we're starting to see the fruition of them. You know, we started out with initially just something as simple as Xeno, and then we saw the revamping being done of Jumptown, and now we've seen it expand even more. So like Lefty said, this is a whole nother level, guys. This is not the typical thing. So if you get an opportunity to take advantage of it in the PTU, and if it's released live, then please try it. Guarantee you will love it, and there's more to come. That's what I'm going to say about that. So thank you, Lefty, for
not only
reminding us about
get a
that.
good PC, but also get it for the game itself. You need joystick or keyboard and mouse. Make sure you get those too.
You are short.
Montoya is always saying that your joysticks don't make you a better pilot, but frankly, I beg to differ.
Okay.
I would like to piggyback. Oh, go ahead.
It is time for us to close out because we are going on the 3-hour, and Fastcart knows y'all. I don't want to go that long. Fastcart, talk to us what we got coming up this week on Thursday. What's happening?
Thursday, we have Soul Talk on youtube.com/SoulCitizens. That's on the end. We talk about what's going on in the community that week. Normally, we cover ISC, and sometimes we cover SCR. But mostly, we talk about what's going on in the comics for that week. So stop by. That's 9 p.m. Eastern, 1 a.m. UTC.
And on next Saturday, we'll have our show, Soul Voices, where we take information from Reddit and Spectrum and the gaming industry, and you get to come in and talk to us one-on-one. When you come with Fastcart, you get to sit in the round table and talk with a group of folks, and when you come to Saturday, you get to talk to us one-on-one. So hopefully you guys will be able to join us 3 p.m. Eastern on Saturday. And Kelosal, we talk about next week.
And on Sunday, Soul Citizens will be talking about From Concept to Reality on Sunday at 8 p.m. Eastern, 7 p.m. Central, 8 p.m. Eastern, 7 p.m. Central. And our guest host will be Dr. Murray himself, Doc Murray. So bring your folks. I would love to see about 200, 300 plus folks. Citizens Sunday, 8 p.m. Eastern.
Look at that picture. Can you believe that was the M50 up there on the upper left corner first? That's what the M50 looked like. So yeah, very different ship, and that's the Carrack on the right. Very different design. And we're going to talk about some of these ships. Some of you all have been around long enough, like Lefty, and some of these guys have been around long enough. I think Reload, you guys have been around long enough to remember that the Constellation, this is like the 4th iteration of the Connie or something like that.
Yeah,
it is,
I was around that one.
Yeah, it's not what it looked like when we first got it. So
I want to know where the Pegasus is.
It was nice. You're not getting that. It came out as a chunk. You're like, oh, minute. What the?
Oh, wait a minute. But back in the day, we thought those ships were gorgeous. When they first came out, we were ranting and raving. Now you look at them.
They were gorgeous with that 2012 tech.
Yeah, you look at them now and it's like, ugh, we like this. But anyway, all right, we are getting ready to get out of here. We are going to set up a raid for a young, new Soul Citizen person who I have just literally dig so much because she's so cute to me. But her name is Yo-Yo Meg. You guys, when you get over to Yo-Yo Meg, she is just getting out in Star Citizen. Give her some love. If nothing else, encourage her. If you like what you see, follow her. She's a big Fortnite player, but she has fallen in love with Star Citizen. So I want you all to check out Yo-Yo Meg. And yeah, that's about it. Special thanks to DoggDemon. DoggDemon, where can people find you? You're all over the place, right? But we find you on quite often Paul Shelley's show, right?
Yeah, you'll see me on Paula Shelley Show, and then when I am able to build a new computer, I will start doing training lessons. So kind of similar to Test, I do a lot more training in terms of getting people comfortable. And one of the big things I kind of fight against is meta building. People kind of get in this game feel, oh, if I don't do this, I'm going to be a bad player. And we just have fun. Same thing as Test. We jump in, we cause some trouble, we have fun. It's just a learning experience. If you leave my group and go to other places, I'm just happy you did a good job and you found your niche somewhere.
Awesome. Lefty, I'm going to ask you to speak on behalf of, well, I'll get Reload. I've been wearing Lefty out today. Reload, tell real quick about where people can find you guys from Test Squadron.
Test Squadron?
Discord.gg/test is probably the easiest way to get hold of us. Come on in. We're a great bunch of people, and we will fill you full of expertise, even if you don't want it.
We want to thank WildBeastman, Reload, Lefty, DoggDemon for being here with us today. As always, my co-hosts fastcart and Kelosal, my brothers here at Soul Citizen, and thank every one of you all for hanging out with us tonight. It was a long night, but we appreciate you. By the way, we are about to reach our 2,000 mark for followers on Twitch, so we might get there by midsummer. So we're at 1922. We're going to see you guys on the raid. Bye-bye. See you guys later. Peace, love, soul. Take care.
Thank you, guys. Take care.
Yeah.
Raid is...